These are Gachiakuta's most insane character stories. I've taken my videos and compiled them into one big video to enjoy on these cold holidays. There's even an exclusive deep dive into Fu you'll only find in this video. Thank you so much for watching, and you know what? Tell me which Gachiakuta character is your favorite in the comments. This is Gachiakuta's biggest threat and one of the most terrifying new gen manga villains. He eats living things for his powers, creates these Frankenstein monsters for harsh experiments, and everything points to the fact that he's just trying to end a world. Who is he? This unhinged villain is known as Zodil Typhen, and he first appears in chapter 24 of the manga. The raiders returning to their boss view Zodil staring into some light, mumbling to himself about the Watchmen series before stating Rudo's name, all before you see his jacket having the same insignia as Rudo's gloves. He too possesses a part of the Watchmen series, a series of objects that are the oldest and most powerful in Gachiakuta. While a short 2-page introduction, it does a great job creating suspension and uneasiness for this character. His dingy appearance, surrounded by heaps of random stuff, feels chaotic. This, accompanied by his bloodshot eyes and ramblings, makes Zodil sound, well, crazy. Yet all of this is before the reveal he has part of the Watchmen series, something only Rudo has had up to now. It's all to say that this guy is a little bit strange, crazy, and seriously important. But even before this odd appearance, he's been mentioned many times. If we step back a few chapters, Jabber, after being beaten, stated he needed to bring Rudo back, but backs down upon hearing about Zodil having a huge smile. He then notes Rudo's Watchmen gloves. Zodil will love to hear about them. And from these two pieces of information alone, we can understand that Zodil is interested in Rudo because his gloves. They're part of the same series of objects as his coat. We next see Zodil as the raiders become more active, him deciding to finally make his move. And yeah, he's locked in. Zodil has that immovable object type of vibe. Like, nothing's gonna be able to touch him. He's just that strong. In the next chapter, Rudo is venting to some random person about his stresses. The person putting together it's the raiders bothering him before mentioning that they're losing their minds searching for something right now. Then, all of a sudden he breaks character and brings out the Watchmen boots. The raiders are looking for a match to these. Rudo looks over and sees Zodil underneath the hood. He puts his hand on Rudo. He's the one searching for the match. He's the raiders' new boss. Without even giving him a second to be surprised, he tells Rudo to never miss a weather report. That way he can be prepared for when the storm hits. And while his words somewhat illustrate that this is a random encounter, this was masterfully planned. When the cleaners jump at him, they're all teleported to a dark tunnel and instantly put against each other in a 5v5, raiders versus cleaners. Though we know Zodil is interested in Rudo, and obviously he set this up so that he's able to speak to him. He flushes the tunnel to send everyone away except Rudo, and since they're now alone, he poses the question, how would you like to take down the spear with me? Rudo envisions the destruction of the spear, the strange sky island dividing the people of the ground and spearites, the place Rudo himself comes from. Zodil can tell Rudo is envisioning it in his head, reading him to push the subject further. Zodil states he hasn't been to the spear, but wants it gone, and he doesn't care what he's taking down. All that matters is that it goes down. Rudo lashes out as Zodil mentions his rage, but is quickly shut up and told to listen. He tells Rudo to stay on topic. They will have a proper dialogue. Just listen. His words lock Rudo up. He feels like he's in chains, held captive by Zodil's dark, overpowering presence. I want to note how Zodil is drawn in a specific way that almost feels like he deconstructs the manga's art style for himself. Like his image, when Zodil speaks, the manga gets darker, more rigid, and super rough to make us feel his words even more. Out of everything, even the text boxes are different. They're more profound, as to tell us that his words are weightier and heavier than the others. Of course, Ruto would feel captive by them. It's all to make Zodil scarier and create the image of this powerful, demanding, and very manipulative sounding leader. He's terrifying in every way now that we're actually face to face with him, and he knows it, clearly using it as an advantage to sway the conversation with Ruto his way. Zodil questions why Ruto thinks the cleaners will help him get to the spear. It's not their job. The only reason Ruto is kept around them is because it's convenient. His strength helps. He then steps to Ruto, towering over him. Ruto can't be happy with this status quo, can he? The current game of friends isn't what he wants, right? Yet again, just very manipulative sounding. He shuts Ruto up, then speaks on and on. Sure, he might pose this all as questions, but it's like he's telling Ruto what to believe instead of it actually being a question. Zodil then goes on to give a speech, describing living creatures as strange, fascinating things. They shape and adapt to their environment. He explains that on the ground you can find waste that has never been documented. It comes from the spear, and you can say that same exact thing about people. If where people live affects their humanness, Zodil coming from the ground and Ruto from the spear, then why does Ruto have the same eyes as him? Zodil continues on trying to tell Ruto they're the same, that even if they're from different places, they're the same type of people. He's insistent on swaying Ruto for whatever his cause is. A cause that is definitely not bad. Like, come on guys, this guy wouldn't be evil, he wouldn't be up to something terrible, right? In response, Ruto lashes out. Why couldn't Zodil just meet him normally? He's going through all this just to recruit him? He states he wants to reach the spear for himself, for his own objectives. So basically, Zodil just needs to back off and stay out of it. Zodil looks down. Normal? He goes on to explain a group he was without a doubt brought up in. A group of people who worship the trash the spear rights would drop, calling it blessings from heaven. They would accept all, good or bad, as blessings, and force others to do the same. While it may sound bizarre to Ruto, Zodil states it was just common sense to the group, and if someone like Ruto was to fight this, they'd become a heretic. Ultimately, the backstory doesn't matter. It was an example to say that normal really isn't a thing. He explains common sense created by fanatics like the group can be a deadly poison. Their common sense based belief of the falling trash being a blessing can be very deadly. He states that despite it all, you'd never know who was suffering from this common sense poison without a catalyst. To remove the poison from someone, to make them see something is not normal, you need to snap them out of it. You need to shock their system. And yes, you're seeing that right. This dude just ate a bug. He is certainly crazy, yet this reaction, thinking that it's gross crazy, is very intentional. To most, eating a bug is a shock, but there is people who do that. Zodil in his speech here is trying to tell Ruto his normal, his feelings, might be a poison. Maybe in fact, Zodil's normal is right. In the same way the people who enjoy bugs might be right about them being tasty, maybe Zodil's plan to take down the spear is the right way. The shock he speaks of, him bringing Ruto for this, is him trying to be that shock. The shock Ruto needs to break his normal and switch sides. Yet him unveiling all this to Ruto basically says he's failed. And so, with that, it's time to go. Transported into another room, Zodil yet again looks down at Ruto as he stomps forward. This dude is, aura farming by the way. Remember how I said an immovable object? Yeah, these panels are the definition of that. He insults Ruto for running his mouth before even listening or thinking of what he was saying, wishing it was a cooler-headed person who fell from the sky. Yet he's now done with games. He won't even bother explaining his plan. He'll just show him. Zodil takes the Watchman boots and attaches them to some sort of core. The object taking to them as Zodil explains he was trying to create his own Watchman series. The series has been around forever and therefore has immeasurable amounts of energy. And while he couldn't replicate that energy, he created something else entirely. Like a mad scientist, Zodil has created a monstrous trash beast powered by a vital instrument, and he states they'll use this very beast to ride to the spear. Listening to Zodil speak, Rudo questions the importance of his gloves, and noticing, Zodil takes to the conversation, seeing it as another chance to sway Rudo. The Watchmen series hold enough power to drive one mad, yet at one point in time, there was a single person who wore the entire series. Why is it that he and Rudo can use them? Zodil's explanation is that it's because they've left something important behind. In simplest terms, it's because they're broken people. But like a true villain, Zodil sees this as a power. Why should being broken discourage him if it allows him to use this power? And so he asks, imagine what would happen if a single person used all of the objects in the series. Would it be enough to reach the spear? Zodil needed to know. He had to experiment. He tried to create fakes but failed. Yet failure doesn't mean it's a waste. He learned he could use the object as a core to create the imitation titan of a trash beast. Everything he had done is for these experiments. Guiding and sending Rudo and his friends here was for this very purpose. One extreme mad scientist experiment to get to the spear. Everything in his plans are coming together. A special trash storm comes once every 6 years. And now he'll take his Frankenstein monster upon that storm to bring down the spear. He gives Rudo one final chance. Follow him and he's guaranteed to make it to the spear. By comparison, what are his allies offering him? Saying, if you have a goal you want to accomplish, if you have any convictions, then trash must be disposed of. In the silence, Rudo reaches out. He had named his trashy gloves 3R, their most prized possession. To him, nothing in the world is waste. Even speaking to Zodil was important. It told Rudo that he has friends who gave a problem child like him a real home. Sure, he wants to make it to the spear still, but now that's not enough. He'll do so with everyone alive and having fun. Zodil's coat transforms into a pitch black shell, flying him forward at Mach speeds towards Rudo. As the substance takes him over, he tells Rudo he'll regret this. And as he criticizes Rudo for calling out to his friends, they appear. Zodil looks back as Rudo says his experiment is over. Zodil simply replying that it indeed is. Soon he'll have his long-awaited results. Yeah, despite everything he's been saying, getting to the spear hasn't been Zodil's main intention this entire time. As while the cleaners work on bringing down this huge trash beast from the inside, Zodil just spectates. He's been intending to use this battle as a way to test his soldiers from the very beginning. When one is brought down, he simply tells them to come back. He's been evaluated. Then when yet another shows up, ready to sacrifice her whole self for his mission, he stares on with a blank expression, simply saying interesting. He walks towards Rudo. This is what it looks like when someone gives up what they care about. He will come collect this piece of the Watchmen series. And with that, he's gone through the portal, disappearing completely. To be a true testament of what Zodil's manipulation can do, the woman indeed sacrifices her life to buy him time. And with their death, we see a backstory. In this backstory, while short, we see how they met, Zodil complimenting her hair before assumingly recruiting her. He later refers to this incident as an experimental seed he had planted, blooming beautifully. And this says it all. It's just some sick manipulative shit. He doesn't care about people one bit, just about how he can use them and what he can transform them into. But in the trash beast, the cleaners save themselves before it's destroyed, unable to cross through the spear's border. Zodil watches this all from afar as he's asked why he thought it would even work. Him stating the fake Watchman object he made had the power of protection. While the man assumes the experiment to be a failure, Zodil sees otherwise. It was a success. He had met Rudo, tested his theory about the spear's border, was able to test and evaluate his team, and even learn about another piece of the Watchmen series. Zodil never intended to cross the border. In fact, he had assumed it wouldn't work. And while he wasn't able to recruit Rudo to get his hands on another piece of the series, he has now instilled enough importance in the objects that the cleaners will guard them for him. It's super freaky. While it seems like a huge failure, when he explains it this way and explains all his side objectives in this big experiment, it does sound like a pretty big success. But I still think it's utterly terrifying that he planned every single bit of this out. He's clearly very obsessed about the spear, wanting to bring it down for what seems like no reason. But we do kind of have an idea why. From his small speech about those who worship the trash the spear people dropped, we can assume he was one of them, though somehow got a shock to his system that led him away. The use of the word heretics is interesting too. Really makes you wonder if there's a more horrific tale there. Definitely is. Though he initially had really only brought that up to try and rope Rudo into his cause, hoping to control him and his Watchman gloves. It's their power that he's after. All in all, this was our first big look into Zodil, and we can instantly see that he's a terrifyingly smart, manipulative mind that'll pretty much do anything to get his objectives. He treats people like pawns, manipulating them from the beginning for his purposes, and if he's willing to create these monstrous beasts for an experiment, who's to say what he'll do next? Not only is Zodil scary in look and demeanor, demanding the pages like bend to his will, but his actions suggest that we should be very careful of him. We've only just kicked open the door and everything points to the fact that he's an unhinged monster. But we still have a few more Zodil moments to go over. Our next clash with Zodil is when him and Rudo both seek out the information broker. And yes, he's eating a raven. Just raw. Do people even eat birds like that? It's breakfast for him. Maybe? He's a strange guy. Upon meeting Rudo again, Zodil is nothing short of scary. And yet again, I have to say nobody is touching him. Especially now that he's tested his allies and is very confident in just sitting back. He allows them to do the work while he waits to see where the information broker brings them. And as Rudo is brought before a box from his ancestor, Zodil waits out of sight in the trees for the perfect moment. While you'd be right to assume he's planning to take the box, see whatever is inside, in reality, Zodil's mind has been on the broker the entire time, as this is the perfect moment for Mymo to touch him. With this, using her powers, she's able to see every single memory of his, taking all the information he's ever collected, in turn likely telling Zodil everything he'll ever need to know. And so he springs into action to guard her. Vital instrument, Mishra. Like before, his coat comes to life as he activates its power, covering his face in strange marks as he summons spikes to attack everyone. His coat now resembles an odd pair of wings, and as he seems ready to push forward with even more power, Mymo falls to the ground. The information broker has been around for so long and has somehow seen so many things that she can't view it all, and he states it'll likely be a month before her eyes even open. This means certain defeat for Zodil. And so, faced with it, what will he do? Well, our strange, interesting villain eats a sandwich. His coat transforms in response. With the sandwich all down the hatch, his pointy wings become full-fledged raven wings. While this gives the impression he has a ton of different powers, the broker who knows all asks if what he eats reflects the shape. But Zodil quickly gets out of there, carrying Mymo as he states he'll beat Rudo into the ground next time. But yeah, I think we just figured it out. Not only was he shown eating a raven before having spiky black wings, but whatever was in that sandwich clearly changed his form. It's not confirmed yet, but I think it would be fair to say his coat reflects what he eats. You also gotta remember how he ate that cockroach before being surrounded by some shell thing way back. It sounds like a crazy stretch for a power, but it also makes sense considering Rudo's gloves transform what they touch, and they are in the same series after all. I think it's a fair assumption. Finally, our last current moment with Zodil is a short, small glimpse of what is certainly an intense backstory. He screams to be let go, that the trash isn't a blessing, to let his sister go, before we see him crying for his mother. We then see the moment he found the coat. If the world is about taking things no matter how hard you fight, he decided he'll do the taking. Covered in wounds, he stares forward as the current Zodil stares forward at Momoa, emotionless as he watches her entrenched in a deep sleep. And that's all we got for now. At the moment, we don't know all that much about Zodil, and in all honesty, it might be a while before we learn more. Yet everything we do know crafts a villain bringing his own unique kind of terror. It's very apt to say that he commands the pages when he appears in the manga. He changes everything from the shading to even the word bubbles. I kept saying it, but Zodil's like an immovable object, making even the manga bend to his will. This in combination with his dark experimentation, his non-stop manipulation, and his freaky bird-eating powers make him a villain to be wary of. And don't even get me started on how he's trying to basically end a world, destroying the entire sphere. Zodil is far from the most advanced, deepest villain I've ever seen, but that doesn't make him bad. Far from it. In fact, he's actually a great example of making a simple trope very interesting. There's reasons why people will say there's beauty in simplicity. Zodil has the same goal of the main character Rudo, to reach the spear. But from there, everything's a polar opposite. While Rudo is willing to make friends and trust them, Zodil wants to crush everything in his way and use what he can. Rudo wants to learn about the world and his heritage, while Zodil seemingly wants to disregard his, talking about the trash-worshipping people and their common sense as poison. Just a few examples to say, Zodil and Rudo are different sides of the same coin. At least for the moment. Gachiakuta is a brand new series with tons of story to tell. There's no doubt that once we learn more about the world and Zodil himself, things will get deeper, and probably darker. For now though, we definitely gotta keep an eye on Zodil, especially what he eats. I bet his stomach hurts. But let me know, what do you think about Zodil Typhen, Gachiakuta's biggest threat? What do you think his story is gonna shape up to? Do you think he'll be a heartfelt villain by the end of the series? Or do you think he'll continue to be a scary threat Rudo will eventually have to put down? Folo is what happens when a background character wants to become the hero. While only a supporter and by all definitions the epitome of forgettable, Folo aims to break this mold. It's then he's given an arc filled with tragedy, a tear-jerking backstory, and moments that make you root for him harder than Rudo, the main character. By now, in the recent chapters of Gachiakuta, he has by all definitions become that hero. Supporters as a concept and therefore Folo are introduced in chapter 8. Rudo asks about them to learn they support the team even though they aren't givers. Whether it's wrecking a beast's exoskeleton, recon work, or by being on standby, they assist a lot. During the next Trash Beast battle, Rudo jumps in to save one of them, a boy with a hammer. This being Folo, our hero of today's video. While this battle doesn't go well for Rudo, him struggling with his powers, this action meant a great deal to Folo, as we later learn through Gris, another supporter. Later down the line, Rudo is feeling down. Gris sitting next to him to thank him. Most look down on supporters at first because they have no powers. Yet Rudo jumped in to save Folo, a boy who just wanted to rid the world of trash beasts. Gris goes on to reveal Folo's dream. He's holding on to a precious object to become a giver. Also he can beat the beasts and show supporters are far from useless. Gris states Folo's dream to say there's something Rudo must want to do. He needs to remind himself of that, and from there the rest should come to him. Ending the talk by saying he was dropped on the ground, but lived. That speaks for itself. This not only makes supporters respectable to Rudo, but to us, this establishes supporters as hardworking even without vital instruments. Especially Folo, who goes on to appear a plethora of times. While I'm not going to go out of my way to point out each one of these little appearances, as in many of them he doesn't even speak, he appears and has clearly been hard at work, though he is very much in the background. It is until nearly 100 chapters later something big happens involving Folo. Upon Rudo chasing after the info broker, he's left with Folo ready to make a big move. Folo stating he'd like Rudo to let him try and help. He's a supporter and part of the cleaners too. The two of them confront the broker, him holding some sort of box in his hands as he thinks to himself that they need to play along. The info broker Kuro knows his rules were clear. Rudo has to be the one to catch him to get the info, so he runs towards Folo when he's punched. It's Rudo in disguise. Him and Folo had swapped clothes and completely fooled Kuro. Rudo then falls to the ground, his hands in immense pain due to the loss of his gloves. He recalls the words about his gloves' powers driving people insane, looking over and watching Folo go mad. Just by putting on a piece of the Watchmen series, Folo is hyperventilating, feeling reality slip his fingertips, and their power eating away at his mind. Rudo then saves them, taking back his gloves and avoiding Folo's questions. The trash beast they've been avoiding then attacks, Folo narrowly avoiding it as Rudo realizes they'll have to beat this thing. It's not just gonna go away. It's then Kuro speaks, asking Rudo to use the box he's been holding. While it seems off topic, this is important to Folo, as he is insistent Rudo can't trust the info broker. He even goes as far as offering up his hammer, the object he's been making into an instrument. This is how much he didn't trust him, but also how much he wanted to support Rudo and appear as valuable. The box business ends up working out just fine, and back at Cleaner HQ, Folo is feeling a bit down about it all and bringing Rudo new clothes to make up for it. When they swapped clothes, Folo had ruined Rudo's, but it wasn't just that. The situation as a whole was upsetting him. Folo didn't trust the broker and went as far as suggesting his hammer. Yet the second he imagined it, right after Rudo had trusted him with his gloves, his vital instrument, he saw Rudo as a monster. He was fearful and didn't want Rudo to break his hammer. This is fair though. These objects are very precious to their users. Being scared is very understandable. But considering Rudo had treated him fair, he had let him use his vital instrument, he doesn't want to think that way about him. Regardless, the uniform is a way to make up to himself, and so when Rudo denies it because he likes to fix up old things, like his uniform, this really messes with Folo. He had went out of his way to ask August for a spare, bothering him while working. Rudo pushing him away does nothing but remind him of that annoyance, the same annoyance he's faced because supporters are considered lesser. It all culminates in this moment, a rage-fueled action where Folo throws the clothes to the floor. Yet Folo stares at the clothes now on the floor, realizing acting like this isn't gonna solve anything. He walks to Rudo's room to deliver them anyways. Rudo can't be mad about having extras, and when he doesn't open the door, he goes in and notices Rudo's room. This somehow deeply bothering him. You'll understand later. A new mission then begins, Rudo and Folo yet again ending up together. The purpose of this mission is to support Rudo, make him more of a proper cleaner, and so it's Rudo's time to shine. But upon speaking to their client, Rudo's smiles, speaking, just people skills, well, they suck. Folo then steps in, always trying to learn and be the best cleaner supporter possible, ready to become a giver. He gives Rudo a perfect example of how to interact with clients, before walking away stating it's what supporters are for. After all, he isn't good enough to beat trash beasts. They all walk into the village and under Tamzy's guidance, Rudo works tirelessly to destroy the trash beasts. Folo watches it all. Rudo uses his net to cut open a path. Then, with the trash beast broken up, Tamzy catches everything. Despite it being his first job, Rudo has the power to charge in, no distractions. Yet Folo's following them behind, feeling nothing but disparity. The trash beasts keep coming though. They aren't destroyed by instruments, meaning they're part of a larger body somewhere. Rudo spots a strange creature emerging from a house in the background, him concluding it's the main body and readying a hairdryer as a weapon, turning it into a cannon and firing, hopefully destroying the beast. Tamzy then steps in to remind Rudo it might not be over and to guide him, though more importantly, Folo listens with ambition. If Rudo has what he doesn't, then he just has to reach out and get it. He gathers the courage to ask Ruto the secret to being a giver. The trash beast then gets up, rushing at him as Folo puts together the main beast, the one with the core, must be inside of the house. He steps inside and realizes something is already wrong, and with one wrong step, the house comes to life and he's thrown back. The entire house is the main body. Tamzy thanks Folo for the help, him amped up with these words from a giver, yet Ruto jumps in front of him and asks him to stay back. He'll blow the house down. Now this makes sense. Folo just took a heavy hit and Ruto is about to fire a cannon. Of course, staying back is right, yet Folo takes this hard. He stands up with a crazed expression. "Excuse me? What is that supposed to mean?" Folo explains how he had thought Ruto was different, that Ruto didn't disregard the cleaner's supporters like most people. He made compromises, admitted his mistakes, and even asked Ruto for help. But Ruto will never understand. Ruto realizes that now's not the time. Yet again, he asks him to stay back. Folo yelling in response. So what if he's not a giver? That doesn't mean he can't fight at all. He's tired of being a tag-along, tired of smiling through his inferiority complex, and tired of people like Ruto getting a big head and looking down at him. Ruto then turns around. When did he get a big head? When has he ever looked down on anybody? Folo responds that he's not delusional, that Ruto just needs to remember how he's been treating him. Maybe he needs to learn about how to read people. Ruto needs to realize that whenever he makes a mess, somebody else has to clean it up. This pushes Ruto over the edge. What could Folo know about him and his past? Folo goes on to recite everything about Ruto, dramatizing it and emphasizing how special Ruto is, before saying he doesn't give a damn. His tragic backstory doesn't give him the right to talk crap of those who've lived a normal life. Finally saying Ruto is using his misery as a shield. Finally, Ruto yells back. Folo is the one using his life as a shield to lash out. With this, Folo cracks, punching Ruto straight in the face. Grist pulls Folo away as the anger grows inside both of them. They need to knock it off. Yet Folo pushes Ruto more and more. He wouldn't understand anything, a reality where he has nothing. If Ruto has this, such amazing powers, then use them to go to the spear and get out of here. Ruto is done. He's putting his fist to Folo's face, and as he gathers all of his strength, the trash beast stands up, revealing itself to indeed be the house, and their fight only allowed it to power up. Ruto is incredibly angry yet turns his back to Folo. He's Ruto the cleaner. The trash beast comes first, leading Folo to sit there upset. Things only became this way. The trash beast is only strong. There's only tension because of him. As the trash beast attacks, Folo shouts to Ruto. He's sorry, promising he won't mess up next time. The trash beast charges at him, and despite his hammer, it hits him full force, sending him flying off the cliff bloodied and with the hole in his side. All but dead. Folo looks down at the blood, the warmth sending him into a backstory. He views himself as younger, as a kid with a girl, excited to see her. Yet when another boy comes along, the girl follows him instead. Folo could only think, what can he do to be that cool? That same boy one day showed Folo a hammer, declaring that he got it in the polluted zone. And even though seriously dangerous, death being a common thing, he ventured out and was thankfully saved by the cleaners. He explains them and the idea of givers. The boy inspired by them as he declares he'll be a giver and join the cleaners. Folo could only look at this and yet again say, how can he be that cool? How can he reach that level? How can he be that awesome? Years pass and a familiar scene unfolds. Folo and the girl. Though now he realizes she only comes around for the other guy. And now the other guy's nowhere to be seen. It's then an alarm blares out. A trash beast is attacking. Yet Folo only runs towards the danger upon hearing of the circumstance. Someone is fighting it. Someone with the long-handled weapon. He can only think of the boy and his hammer as he stares down. But it's a younger Zanka. With no effort and despite the cold, Zanka handles the trash beast, smashing it up and severing its head clean off, Engine emerging to clap, revealing Zanka just joined as a full-fledged cleaner. It's a very sweet scene, but we're kinda off track. Back to Folo. He's very mixed. He seems relieved that it wasn't the boy, but he also wants to know what that boy is doing now, though he also doesn't want to know. He thinks that if he saw him again, seeing how far he'd gotten, he'd only realize that he's better than him. It's because the boy is now gone that he doesn't have to panic, but he also realizes that he's very dependent on that sense of relief. Though Folo then finds a sense of courage. He's encouraged him and nothing will change by sitting around. He has a goal. He wants to be better than that boy. But we then turn the page to see the boys become nothing. A shut-in struck down by the world. He tells Folo to go away. When you're part of the faceless mob, you'll never be a giver even if you try. He has given up in every way. He states the spark in Folo's eyes made him feel like he was falling behind. They hadn't seen each other, but he wasn't free of Folo's judgment. He tells Folo to get lost, take his hammer, become a cleaner, and get lost. It would seem that seeing Rudo's room be similar reminded Folo of this moment. If it wasn't clear, Folo is a very jealous person. He compares himself way too hard to others, not realizing that everyone has their own path. And so even though he tries to say otherwise, it's likely Folo in this moment felt like he had won, that he had won over this boy and was gonna be the one out of the two that became something. So seeing Rudo's room be so similar, seeing that he lives in a similar predicament, well, he felt like he had lost, like he had never won. It's one of the big reasons why his feelings for Rudo probably built up so heavily. Folo returns to the present and opens his eyes, holding the hammer as he states he just wanted to be a good rival. He wanted to show that nobody's like them could be somebody, and he wanted to prove it together. Rudo dashes down to Folo as he tells himself he won't let their hammer end his junk. He wants Rudo to use it as an instrument. Going back to the past, Folo dashed away upon hearing the boy's words. He didn't know why he did it. Was it to make their dream come true? No, the answer was simple. He just didn't want to become that guy. He begged to join the cleaners, worked odd jobs for them, and held everything in. No matter what, his emotions couldn't explode. In Folo's mind, if he ever exploded, he'd become the other guy. But now he realizes what he's become is even more pathetic. Rudo listens as Folo begs him to transform his hammer. Rudo seeing him dying in front of him as Regto. Though Rudo ignores the hammer, he knows Folo is lying, saying if he's gonna blow up at people, do it all the way. Rudo asks, Folo, what does your heart want? Folo goes back to that moment where he entered Rudo's room. Despite it being trashy like the boy from his backstory, Rudo was very awesome. Rudo is awesome to Folo. He's jealous. He wanted to prove he could be more than the faceless mob. He wants to be a cool guy. It can't end here. Rudo yells for him to get up and the ground erupts, both of them jumping to the surface as Folo's hammer transforms into a full-fledged vital instrument. Folo isn't done yet. Folo's small hammer has become stronger than ever. It engraved with his name to show no doubt. Rudo confronted him and made him into who he wants to be. Now he can fight at his side. Rudo states it wasn't him at all. It was Folo's own passion. All Rudo did was believe he could do it. Together, they stand as the trash beast fires a blast of energy. Folo slamming his hammer down to eat away the strike, the hammer working as a shield. Folo walks forward with his hammer, eyes filled with determination. He spent his whole life worrying what others think. He didn't want to be the other guy, so he held everything in. He made excuses, and now, he knows he's nothing short of an idiot. That guy was an excuse to run away from things that would upset him. Now he's done with that. Folo won't run anymore. Vital instruments are based on you and what you've done, and Folo knows it all. He knows how to use his new instrument. He holds the stress in, the power he absorbs, using it as a shield till it builds up. And when it's full, he blows up all the way. Folo names the hammer Allen as he strikes with a destructive blow. cracking the sky as he nukes the trash beast, ending it in one single huge shot. Smoke clears as Folo falls, Rudo coming up and listing the great things he did, finally saying, "Folo was awesome." Rudo states he sucks at seeing small details, so for now on Folo has to speak up before he explodes. They fist bump and all is solved, a beautiful friendship beginning to form. Tamzy then walks up to ask why Rudo didn't use his powers again, him revealing he couldn't, the assumption being his last use was on Folo himself. They all panic before we cut to Samiu checking him out. Thankfully, Folo is okay, and he was not weaponized by Rudo. That would have been horrible, and the way they explain it is kinda confusing. Basically, Rudo did use his powers on Folo. He used his last use on Folo, just not in that way. The simplest explanation is that Folo was a piece of dynamite with a long fuse, and Rudo simply sped that fuse up. Folo finally becoming a giver was all him. Folo is then healed but opts to keep the scars. They're reminders of his failure and a reminder of how happy he is to be a giver. This way, he can never forget. He looks to Rudo. While he doesn't really get how he made him a giver, Rudo helped him in some way, and so he'll never forget that. He'll always be there for him. Folo puts his hand out, making it official that they're friends and clearing a spot on Rudo's to-do list. Which I gotta say, what a perfect resolution. Engine then takes a scolding Folo and Rudo for their ridiculous fight. It's a silly scene, Engine calling them babies, but thankfully they clear up every misunderstanding before Folo is invited to join Engine's group. Yet Folo tries to say he's staying a supporter. And while it's for noble reasons, he's a supporter that wants to prove the supporters are great, August already made him a giver uniform, and it looks amazing. So yeah, you can't change your mind now, Folo. Plus, the other supporters are more than happy to see him grow. They want this for him. His label doesn't matter. They know Folo will always be Folo. Like that, Folo becomes the hero he dreamt of being, going from a character introduced by being saved to one wielding his own instrument to defend his teammates. His story is one of many emotions: jealousy, sadness, yet hope. Things I think anyone can relate to. At one point, any one of us have felt negative and let that stress build up, holding it in till it explodes in a way that has only hurt ourselves. It's this very fact that makes Folo so lovable. He's relatable. Everyone, and I mean everyone, if you try and say you haven't, then you're lying, everyone has been where Folo was at one point or the other. In retrospect, it's kind of funny to think about Folo as a whole. His outburst against Rudo was completely uncalled for. Everything he had said was a reflection of himself in one way or the other. He thought of his past, realizing while he told himself he wanted to prove something, in reality he was running away. Finally, when he was about to die, he sat there and lied, trying to sound like heroic before anything else. All this in mind, Folo has become a fan favorite of Gachiakuta readers. His arc putting this character that never appeared in anything other than the background right alongside the big shots of the series, and it's all because he faced himself in a very human way. The fact that a character like that could become a fan favorite is quite beautiful, and like many other characters, he's a great testament to Urana's writing. How she can take such simple ideas like jealousy and transform them into something infinitely deep and enjoyable. I gotta say, reading the series weekly, Folo was definitely a character I was pretty upset with. I thought he was going to be acting like a brat and that would be it. But, well, I should have just trusted in Urana. He ended up as a pretty perfect character. And I gotta say, without a doubt, he will play a huge part in the rest of the series. He now has those scars for a reason. Though whether it'll be the Doll Festival or what comes after, we have no idea. I do know though, whatever it is, he'll stand strong, proving himself to be the cool guy he always wanted to be. This is Gachiakuta's secret villain, a psychopath guaranteed to break the internet when he's revealed in the anime. He kidnaps and murders, tortures the main character, But the worst part is that nobody knows how vile he is yet. In the world of Gachiakuta, he's a complete mystery. This secret mastermind is none other than Tamzy Kanes, and he first appears in chapter 25 when Rudo is dispatched on a new mission. Our main man Tamzy appears in the group of new cleaners and stops Delman from overwhelming Rudo, looking down at him, stating he likes people with passion, his face housing the kindest expression possible. Yeah, great introduction. He has really cool hair, an amazing sense of style, and some badass scars. By all definitions, a good guy. But the truth is, nobody knows he's a villain yet. Matter of fact, it's not for about 50 chapters we learn this secret truth ourselves. But for now, he joins them as they explore Canvas Town. He pretty much remains in the background and only really speaks to Rudo. He doesn't even play much of a role till they find Amo. Here, after the group is ambushed by her power, it's Tamzy's turn to fight, him donning his mask, which looks really cool. Tamzy also is the focus, as it's stated. Memories with the loved one aren't always happy. Remember that line, and just remember how it made sure to focus on him. Amo then places everyone under her control, and Tamzy realizes he'll let the fight his friends, brandishing a uniquely top staff. Vital instrument, Tokushin. They dash towards Tamzy as he spins and unravels the top of his staff, calling this attack Net, which covers the whole room in these ropes and stops everyone in place. He notes how he's weaved the ropes in a way that if someone moves, they'll be further tangled. Tamzy explains his vital instrument as a distaff, a tool that is used to wind thread, him then spooling everyone into a huge rope ball, as well as capturing Amo easily. There's something to say that for a character later down the line revealed to be a villain, his first notable thing he does is friendly fire. Attacking his own teammates, even if they are mind controlled, is a pretty big introduction. The fact that there was no hesitation was a very big hint that this guy might have been very bad. It was in front of our faces the entire time. But Amo isn't very happy to be caught, her shrieking in rage as Tamzy realizes he'll need to up the ante. He takes his staff and taps the ground, the spool of rope rapidly unraveling as it's sent straight through the tower. With its impact on the ground, he looks down, everyone appearing dead. Yet he remarks to Zanka, they had spells drawn on them to prevent one fatal blow. Yeah, not only is Tamzy's power quick and destructive, but he has a really good mind to go with it. I wouldn't want to fight him. Now here we have to get a bit off topic. Trust me please, while this might seem random at first, I promise it'll all connect back to Tamzy. The first thing to note is that as Rudo begins to hit Amo, which is a whole different conversation in itself, we see Sumiyu note something inside of him, something implied to be very dark. Rudo has this sort of darkness constantly growing inside of him. The other thing to note is Amo's backstory. One day in her abusive situation, a person entered the tower, beat her abuser, took their boots, and gifted them to Amo. The person told her to use them with love before jumping into the sky, appearing as an angel to Amo before they disappeared. These boots became very important to her. They changed her, gave her a purpose, and it wasn't till months later where Amo seen a glimpse of the angel far off, yet still she'd never seen him again. She then met the cleaners, the battle we just seen happened, and as we left, Amo returns to the tower, where we then see a strange being, one kinda similar to the angel, kidnapping her. Remember all of this for me, as we can now return to Tamzy nearly 50 chapters into the future, meaning our star of this video has been missing for a while. What has he been up to? Well, we return to him in a chapter called Tamzy's Day Off. He opens his eyes and quickly turns on the radio, dancing to soothing music before switching it to heavy metal. He's kinda all over the place, but once he adjusts and puts his hair up, he's back to Tamzy. He walks out of his room to find Rudo, who's been hard at work searching for information pertaining to Amo's whereabouts, who's still missing after being kidnapped 50 chapters later. Upon hearing of Rudo's plans, Tamzy smoothly smiles his way, wishing he's able to find his friend. What a kind guy. He then states to the rest of the cleaners he's gonna go into town, which prompts Sumiyu to ask for some kind of magazine, and he responds saying, "You're not asking for porn." magazines, which kinda implies that's exactly what she's asking for. Yeah, it's only through Tamzy we know Sumiyu might have some strange interests. Tamzy roller skates into town, ignoring a fight he can easily break up before buying a cake, finally ending up in some strange ruins of a destroyed building. Tamzy then descends a flight of stairs and arrives before a jail cell, commenting on how roller skates are hard to use. They don't let him use them up top. What could that mean? He then looks to the person in the cell, revealed to be none other than Amo. He pulls out the cake. It's an apology as he can't free her yet. But then he eats it right in front of her, a crazed expression as he consumes it whole. No care for her cries and screams of agony. So not only has Tamzy known where Amo was as Rudo searched for her, but he got in his face and wished him well when it came to finding her. Also, up to now we've been getting glimpses here and there of Amo wishing for cake. This poor girl, after having every hardship in life, being abused in every type of way, has finally found a light before she was kidnapped and held here. And now, in this horrible situation, all she wants is a simple piece of cake. It's her only wish and Tamzy seemingly grants it, just for him to consume it whole right in front of her. Even saying, "I think I'll have some tomorrow too." Yeah, what a day off. Tamzy has been revealed as the villain. I'm gonna say that's putting it lightly. This dude is pure evil, villain who kidnapped Amo. But nobody but us, the reader, have any idea of this. This makes it all the more heartbreaking when Rudo finally discovers where Amo is. And guess who just happens to meet him as he closes in on the location? Tamzy, the one who wished him well on finding her. He continues his calm charade, stating another familiar face will help soothe Amo, even offering to head into the labyrinth first. Of course though, Rudo denies this because he wants to be first so he can punch whoever did this. This is just super uncomfortable as we know Tamzy is right there. Face to face with Amo, Tamzy's presence changes to a monstrous, overpowering feeling. All for her to be happy he's there to save her too? He hands her boots with a smile on his face, her crying tears of joy. Yeah, what the hell? She remembers nothing. By the moment, Tamzy gets even more mysterious and falls darker and darker. Yet everyone but us, the reader, is under his charade of kindness. We then see the backstory. After the group had left Amo, Tamzy had hidden a small rope which he was controlling from afar, spooling his rope into the angel that had captured Amo. This implies that he too was the angel that gave her the boots. And while a huge revelation that for some reason Tamzy has been controlling everything related to Amo, his following words and actions only get worse. Tamzy notes how wonderful a support power is. It can help in so many ways. He states people have misunderstood him, but he's clear on harboring no anger or resentment. He states he has something better than these emotions, something that will trail him for all of eternity. All of a sudden, he closes his eyes as he views Rudo in his father figure, stating it was beautiful as he recalls the moment he had killed Regto. The angel who killed Rudo's father was Tamzy, an act that was, quote, one of love. It's revealed he was recalling that moment as he looked upon a hospitalized Amo, viewing a horrific state as he thinks it'll improve his bond with Rudo further. He questions his next actions. Messing with Amo and killing Regto wasn't enough, but he still needs to get Rudo out of his shell. He sighs as he states he'll need to kill someone. He has to do it for love. There's no other choice. There's nothing to say about the earth-shattering realizations we just witnessed. Who knew that this guy with cool hair and calm words would end up as this? Tamzy is already terrifying and easily setting himself up to be end of series villain territory. But what is even worse, I keep saying it, is that at the moment only we know. Nobody in the story is aware yet. Tamzy has seemingly given us his motivations. He does everything out of love. He killed Rudo's father and has done beyond horrible things to Amo simply for Rudo. Now, love is a bit of a strange word to use, but it's very apparent this pertains to that darkness growing inside of Ruto, the one we've been seeing subtle hints at throughout the series. Tamzy is trying to obtain Ruto's darkness. He wants to bring out this darkness that's inside of Ruto. Also, remember how Tamzy was focused on when it said memories with loved ones aren't always happy? Strange. It's almost like he was, self-reflecting. It feels like everything's starting to come together when it comes to him. Though while of course we're getting more information, this only gives us more questions. How is Tamzy able to come to and from the spear? How does he even know of Ruto's darkness? What is he even gonna do if he exposes that darkness? How would he even plan to use that? We have no idea. I'd love to give you all the answers, but as the story continues, Tamzy only gets stranger. In the following chapter, we witness Amo finally waking up, her viewing the IV in her arm and becoming terrified. Notice how the tube is similar to a rope, just like Tamzy's vital instrument that had held her captive. While she can't remember for some strange reason, I'd like to assume this small detail is going to be part of Tamzy's eventual downfall. Speaking of him, as Amo cries out happy to be saved, he pops up to wonder who would do such a thing. Yeah, I really wonder who would do that. As if to confirm he's in the clear, Tamzy asks if she has any details about the kidnapper, her replying it was a long-haired woman. He smiles. It makes sense their memories are blurry. It's been rough after all. He then walks out of the room with a villainous smile, revealing he had used a vital instrument known as the Watchman book to change what she had seen. Meaning that the book Regto had in the very first chapter wasn't a normal book, rather a vital instrument, and Tamzy had stolen it after killing him. Yeah, not only is this a very dangerous object for a villain to have, one with the power to basically change memories, but it's sad to think Tamzy is using Ruto's father's object to further his quote, acts of love. Acts we know only want to delve Ruto deeper into darkness. Just, what a guy, man. Tamzy then curiously asks about how Ruto went to the information broker to inquire about the Watchmen series. Yet Ruto clamps up. Ruto is worried the Watchmen choker maker can hear everything they say, so no words can be told and Tamzy isn't allowed to know anything. Well, Tamzy isn't dumb and Ruto is honestly a horrible liar, so he knows something is up, inquiring about his next move. The conversation ends on the question if Ruto will chase after Amo's kidnapper or information about the spear, Tamzy telling him the hints might lurk closer than he thinks before saying goodnight. I really wonder who would be able to answer all of Ruto's questions. I really wonder, Tamzy. Interestingly enough, Ruto questions whether or not he could even tell Tamzy. To him, Tamzy is the definition of a good guy. But with this, he realizes he never told Tamzy he had asked about the Watchmen series. Tamzy just knew. Instead of realizing this is strange, how would Tamzy even know the Watchmen series? He just shrugs it off. Damn it, Ruto, you were so close. Speaking of close, in the following chapter it appears Corvus, leader of the cleaners, might have suspicions of Tamzy. He confronts and stares our villain down for handing Amo her boots. While it was approved and allowed, I dare say this moment is some unexplained tension. Corvus himself seems to be a man of reason and mysteriousness. I'd assume that if he knows Tamzy is up to something, he'd wait till it's concrete to say something. I'm only clear on this because in the following chapter, Ruto and Tamzy conveniently end up on their next mission together, it being pointed out that these orders are specifically from Corvus. Perhaps he's aware Tamzy is obsessed with Ruto and wants to bait him into exposing himself. During this mission, Tamzy mostly sticks to the background, allowing Ruto to get the shine and helping when needed. We also get one of the funniest Tamzy panels here. When Ruto copies his move, he's pretty upset. Interestingly, when they team up and push back the trash beast, Tamzy notes how strong Ruto is getting, but calls it a waste, which is very odd to me. If he wants to draw out the darkness in Ruto, isn't getting stronger part of that? Things continue to be interesting as Ruto and Folo get into a fight, throwing punches as the trash beast is allowed to power up. Yet Tamzy, who's supposed to be there to help when needed, never stops this, just watches. I know his role here is to let Rudo learn through experience, but it's like he wants something bad to happen. And when Folo is indeed injured, something bad happening, well, he celebrates internally. This moment is especially terrifying, as we are privy to both sides of Tamzy at once. While before it's been either evil Tamzy or kind Tamzy, here it's like we watch him switch back and forth from these personalities, through internal Tamzy and external Tamzy. His mask tears like a page, and as we the reader peek through the mask, we see an ecstatic Tamzy at the idea of Folo's death. The fire Folo's passing lights will push Rudo further into the darkness. Anger makes for great fuel. With a psychotic smile on his face, he claps, all while the external Tamzy strikes down the trash beast with the strangest expression possible. Back to inside. His internal self is celebrating the show, eating popcorn, but is insanely disappointed when it's revealed Folo lived. He puts together Rudo had saved Folo through words alone, remarking that the power of friendship is so not what he was looking for. After the battle, it's highlighted how Rudo's first official mission went perfectly, and Tamzy states he can work with it. Yes, this panel is that peak meme, but with Tamzy. Urana is the GOAT for this. Urana is the GOAT in general. Tamzy states he wanted to find a catalyst to get Rudo back to his original role, referring to bringing his darkness out. But for now, it's beneficial if he lives normally. After all, the higher he flies, the more it'll hurt when he falls. Yeah, nothing to say. He'll literally try to hurt Rudo as much as possible. Interestingly, he states he wants to return Rudo to his original role. More credence to the fact that he somehow knows what Rudo's darkness is and what it looks like. It's very weird. Yet don't forget that it seemed like Tamzy was intentionally placed next to Rudo. While he stated it was to further his goals, I can't help but think Corvus wanted them together to look out for him. This is pushed by one of the supporters noting how Tamzy seemed to be just watching the battle rather than helping. It would appear that maybe he's getting closer to actually being exposed. Though at the peak of his actions, manipulating Amo, dancing in front of her as if he didn't do it, taunting Rudo with his words, even trying to kill someone he held dear, Tamzy opts to take a leave of absence. Yes, you heard me right. Our secret mastermind who gets more wicked by the second has decided to take a break from his job in the cleaners. He walks to Corvus's office, thinking of his actions up to now, ending it on the phrase, "Now it's time to prepare the sacrifice," all before taking a leave of absence. And that's where we leave off on Tamzy Kanes for now. Yeah, definitely not scary at all, especially considering it's been 20 plus chapters since we've seen him. Who knows what he could be up to right now? Tamzy is one big question mark in Gachiakuta. Even after 150 chapters, we know nothing about this guy. And even worse than the fact that we know nothing about him, nobody in the world knows of his actions. If I had to say, the best way I would describe Tamzy at this current point of the story is just, why? Why does he have those scars? His whole body is covered in them. Why does he know so much about the world of Gachiakuta? He can travel from the spear, seems to know Rudo's history, and can even use the Watchmen series. Finally, why does he want to sink Rudo into the darkness? He went as far as killing his father, kidnapping Amo, and even celebrating as Folo almost died. It has to be for a huge, crazy, unfathomable reason. Everything we're given creates a psychopathic, terrifying secret mastermind who is yet to even explain himself. This is what feels so wrong. Tamzy is the one who began the whole series with Regto's murder, pushed it along with Amo's kidnapping, and still interferes 100 plus chapters later. Gachiakuta is happening because of him, and we don't even have a why. I can't even explain how crazy that is. If you were to compare Tamzy to Zodil Typhen, the other big Gachiakuta villain, I would say they're scary for very different reasons. Zodil is very uncomfortable in presence, a dominating, angry aura that seeks destruction through rage and manipulation. Simply put, he wants to see the world burn. While Tamzy on the other hand is far from that simple. He seems to not care for destruction, anger, anything like that. But under his mask, we see that he'll cross any dark line for his one goal. Zodil's actions reflect the anger at the world that wronged him, but Tamzy seems to do it for fun. The only thing he gets a kick out of and is hellbent on is Rudo, providing acts of love in order to deepen the darkness. If you were to ask me, I think someone doing horrible things for fun is a lot more wicked than someone acting out of past trauma. One example I like, and something I think you really gotta consider, is that Zodil tried to sway Rudo. Even if it was more manipulative, he tried. While Tamzy is straight up doing it. There's no care in the world for those he murders. He does it all with a smile on his face. The reason simply being, for Rudo. Everything considered, I would have no doubt saying Tamzy is a lot more scarier than Zodil. Tamzy is easily going to be a huge part of Gachiakuta's future. If he has already swayed the first 150 chapters, there's no doubt his actions, motivations, and choices won't sway the next 150. With how well he's been set up to now, his reveals of villain being a bombshell nobody's seen coming, and his actions only amping up, now mentioning some sacrifice, I trust Urana will continue to blow our minds with this character. I have high confidence when I say that by the end of the series, Tamzy Kanes will go down as one of the greatest villains of all time. This is Gachiakuta's most heartbreaking character. She begins her tale as a villain before we learn how broken she truly is, leading to a lovable character you can't help but hope for. Her name is Mymo, meaning I love, and she's without a doubt the saddest character in Gachiakuta yet. This video will be all about her and will contain spoilers for the anime and the manga of Gachiakuta. But without further ado, she's first mentioned in chapter 22. Rudo hears of a woman in no man's land who has apparently seen someone cross the border, and so they go out and search for her. The cleaners get protection spells and down a scorpion trash beast as a woman looms on in the horizon, this being none other than Mymo. As the dust clears, she stands before them, walking forward to reveal the star of our video. Mymo is a scantily clad woman with these cool oversized boots, like they just look a bit too big for her. But the most notable thing is how she just glows. From the highlights in her hair, to the corset piercings, and finally her radiant, dreamy expression, it's so bright it's almost intimidating. They ask the woman if she's the one they're looking for, learning she is, listening as she requests they speak in her house. After all, the air here isn't good for them. This isn't gonna go wrong, is it? Oh my god, it went wrong. Mymo stands with a prized expression as engine goes down. But wait, that went a bit too fast. We then go back in time to see an hour earlier, what had initially happened upon entering her house. The cleaners walk into her strange tower-like building, Mymo requesting they remove their masks. They ask to speak to her, but they won't even show her faces. It makes sense, and so they do it, and when they do it, well, she freaks out. Super happy they all look so cool. She's just so cheerful, you gotta love her already. As they inquire about information, Mymo simply wants to talk about what boys and girls they like. Everyone's stunned as she melts while stating she likes a man with a strong scent. Engine is weirded out, but like he'll play along to get their info, but stating this flips a switch in Mymo. Mymo thought she finally had guessed, but they speak as if they're trying to use her. Engine's words like, "I just wanted to see you," greatly upsetting her. She's incredibly angry they tried to lie to her, that they don't mean anything they say. Engine then tells her to put her clothes on, and well, it becomes clear he's very good at pushing her buttons as this starts another outrage. Mymo hates when a man tries to tell her what to wear. Now they don't get to be Mymo's friend. Yeah, she's pretty cool. I can already see why she was named Mymo, or I love. I mean, she's got the whole look, and if she wants to talk romance, it's perfect. Yet despite this cutesiness, you can tell she's a bit unhinged and all over the place. Though, to be fair, considering she's alone in the middle of nowhere in this dark, disheveled tower, you'd be right to assume there's not only a reason for it, but there's a lot of sadness in that reason. With this, talking it's over and Ammo brandishes her boots. Rudo noticing they too are part of the Watchmen series, just like his gloves. While this isn't explained here yet, the Watchmen series are an incredibly powerful series of vital instruments, but more specifically, they're objects only broken people can use, meaning there's definitely some sadness in Ammo. Ammo asks for her, "Good sir," to take care of the cleaners, and Delman raises his instrument and attacks Engine, catching us back up to the present and leaving everyone shocked. In an instant, her wicked smile turns back to cuteness, asking what type of girls do they all like. Ammo wants to have a conversation with them all, everyone except the party poopers, what she has taken to calling the ones mean to her. As everyone begins to talk back to her, Rudo is locked in place. Not only is her having a similar instrument to him freaking him out, but some other force is affecting him. It's then Zanka strikes a nerve, Ammo beginning to cry while stating she never did anything. They hurt her feelings, and as if commanded, Delman attacks the cleaners yet again. The cleaners put together that somehow Ammo has some sort of mind control, her explaining it as if Delman has become her fan. He'll now betray everyone for Ammo without breaking a sweat. It's an action that is justifiable to her. After all, the cleaners were mean first. They came to her house wanting to talk and didn't listen to her talk. As Delman brandishes his vital instrument, Rudo begins to have delusions. Imagining himself being insulted on the spear as Amma reveals something. She is one more fan in this group. If anyone becomes a party pooper, Rudo will make them pay. Uh-oh, this is bad. Complete chaos occurs when Zanka begins to get a whiff of a strange smell. Strangely, it's familiar. In response, Ammo asks, "What do you think memories are made of?" "Things, sound, people, everything you ever remember." Ammo believes memories come from smells. With these words, Ammo transforms into Chiwa for Rudo. He's trapped in a delusion, leading Tamzy and Zanka to face Ammo, her finally revealing all she does is make smells. Happy times with the ones you love. That's Ammo's theme. Ammo's boots release smells that if people breathe in, well, they're shown visions causing unwavering loyalty to Ammo. All they'll want to do is protect her. What a scary power. I mean, all the Watchmen series have scary powers. Rudo can literally transform whatever the hell he wants, but hers, being able to mind control people with like scent, is especially scary. Of course, it's not realistic because it's manga, but her power really makes me think, is there a sense that like say a plant can give off that would put people into delusions? There's gotta be, right? I feel like it just happens somewhere in the world, just Ammo reveals her power, but just stated it out loud for everyone to hear. To Zanka and Tamzy, it now makes sense why she urged them to remove their masks. And so, they put them back on. No smelling for them. Ammo begins to get angry and shouts for help. Rudo, imagining it as his love Chiwa, asking as he pushes both Tamzy and Zanka away. Completely under her control, he declares he'll fight. And I gotta point out Ammo here. I mean, she's just so cute. She's so happy that like he wants to fight for her. Now realizing there's no other option, Tamzy deploys his vital instrument, stringing everyone into a netball. But when that's not enough, he sends them tumbling to the bottom of the tower. They'll all live because they had gotten protection spells earlier, giving Engine the opportunity to sneak up and steal Ammo's boots. This means victory alongside a very upset Ammo. Also, Engine smells the shoes. No idea why. Everyone is confirmed okay and they don their masks to protect from the smells. Engine seeing appropriate to return the boots. Ammo might be very wishy-washy and emotional, but she's a normal girl. It's not right to take her vital instrument, her treasure. It's then out of nowhere Rudo stands up, walks over, and begins to hit Ammo. Everyone's standing shocked as he continues to wail on the poor girl. It's a very dark moment as he's pulled off her to reveal a bloodied face. Now I feel like 9 out of 10 times this type of action in media is just unnecessary. Most of the time the mark is missed and it's just worse all around. But Urana actually handles this scene perfectly, turning it into a vital character moment for Amo and Ruto. Ruto questions if just because she's a girl, it means he can't hit her. Because she's a girl, she can attack and kill everyone he loves? He states that she's not helpless. She's a giver. She had knocked them down, and finally, she stood over and laughed at them. Someone had to hit her. She deserved it. Engine then asks, okay, so what about the information? Ruto's face turning to dread as Engine drags him outside. He tells Ruto he had forgotten everything and let his emotions get the better of him. Ruto turns into a mess of self-reflection as he realizes he hasn't grown that much and is still a brat. Engine stating he likes hot chicks. Okay, I'ma just let him speak. He states he loves them so much, but if a woman was to hear him say that, well, obviously she'd be upset. All to say, everyone has flaws they need to work on, big or small. There's nothing but improvement. Engine has no filter, he needs to work on that. And Ruto, well, he has problems managing his emotions. Yeah, Engine has just proved himself to be a great mentor, taking this dreadful moment for Ruto and breaking it up with comedy. I also want to remind you that Ruto is 15 years old and comes from a pretty horrid situation all things considered. There's some darkness, and being a teenager you can't expect him to not make a lot of mistakes. This is a moment that reminds us of Ruto's immaturity so he can begin to grow throughout the series. And trust me on this one, it also becomes a pretty big moment for Amo to grow as well. But with Engine's help, Ruto decides he has to apologize, perfectly concluding this scene. Yet before he can apologize, we see Amo speaking to one of the cleaners. The lady apologizing as she states she would love to talk romance. It's actually something she's interested in too. I love that she takes off her mask to make Amo feel comfortable, showing that she means no harm, and Amo notices, telling her that she'd be a good mom. Amo reflects, her mother was great too. She helped Amo find her first love, and that's how she got her boots, because Amo saw an angel crossing from the spear and the ground. Wait. Yeah, that's why we're here. This launches us into Amo's backstory, beginning as a little girl with her mother. Her mother brought her one day to meet someone who would, quote, adore her, the person being a shady older man. Her mother stated that this man would love her forever and ever, going as far to say that she's lucky and she's happy for her. Of course, Amo is a child who only knows her mother's words as gospel. She takes to them excited, before it's revealed Amo's mother had sold her to this man. Amo none the wiser. What a heartbreaking scene. And the way Urana draws it all scratchy like a kid's picture book makes it all the more uncomfortable. The man brought her alone to the dark tower in no man's land, telling her to never leave as he'll be the one to nurture and provide for her. The man showered Amo in stuff she likes. Her one day asking, is it from his job? He reveals that he's a trafficker, but for some reason the other traffickers hate him. Probably because, he likes kids. Amo then states not again, telling us that what's about to occur is a pattern. Amo has been subjected to this who knows how many times. The man states that it's time for their ceremony. Amo stating that every time they do that, her heart beats so fast it hurts. Pleading to not do it as the man declares it as love. He compares it to a picture book she enjoys. Her overjoyed to be in love as the man abuses and assaults her. The scene yet again drawn like a picture book. Yeah, it's just sick. Just poor girl. This is a scene I had to take a break from reading afterwards. I hate it. As Amo laid upon the table after the fact, swindled by her abuser's words of love, the door creaked open. Mysterious masked men on the other side. Amo's abuser charges at them, revealing he had the watchman boots before her. Yet to these masked men, they aren't nothing. They drop him and take the boots. He deserves far worse than this, by the way. The men then approach Amo, handing her the boots, stating they're much better suited for her. They'll fill the void in her heart. The masked men walk away as Amo's told to use them with love. Her eyes opened by these words, her calling the men flying away angels. Though her abuser then rises up behind her, pushing her hard against the wall as he berates her for stealing his boots. He kicks her and hurls insults. Yet Amo realizes that something has changed. Normally Amo doesn't feel anything, but upon touching the boots, her heart is squirming. The boots, they must be meant for her. They belong to Amo, and therefore she won't let anyone else touch them. The instrument begins to react as the man stands shocked. Vital instruments are only meant to work for their owner. Amo stating, well, maybe the boots weren't really his. Amo declares that the boots make her heart feel full, comparing it to putting batteries in an old toy and it working again. Which, God, that explanation hurts so much. I love Amo so much, and it hurts knowing that she's just been through so much horrible things. She simply asks if she can have the shoes, her abuser completely changing, speaking low and insulting her, yelling at her as Amo refuses to let go, eventually pushing her to the point of breaking. Amo becomes crazed, screaming as they get into a struggle, Amo hitting back this time, pushing her abuser back till he flies from the window, ending as a bloody splotch several stories lower. Nothing but a horrible memory to Amo now. She backs up and begins to cry, breaking down in a moment of clarity. What has Amo been doing up to now? Why was she with that man? Why did her mother bring her to him? She knows it was to be sold, yet her mind just refuses to accept it. She picks up her brand new boots. It was also Amo could be loved, creating the visceral image that Amo instills the importance in love as a way to mask her trauma. Her backstory ends with Amo revealing that a few months later the angel returned, presumably from the spear. Back to the present, Rudo walks up and is privy to Amo's words. Though as he thinks of revenge against the angel, because he too messed with them in some way, Amo speaks to him. Amo too has made the connection between their vital instruments. He needed the gloves as she needed her boots. These objects, make their hearts human. When Amo had gotten her boots back, she found her human feelings. But with them, she realized things, like what the man had done to her and what it was like to be alone. She cries as she states she wanted to be needed, but leaving the tower was so scary. And even though people did come, it just never worked out. Amo realizes Rudo had came to say sorry, but she tells him not to be. Amo is just as bad. She too only knows how to raise her hands and hit others. Rudo places his hand in front of her, then they'll learn how to connect to others together. A beautiful scene, proving this encounter has healed both of them, setting them each on a better path. With this, the cleaners say goodbye to Amo, her and Rudo promising to talk, but as she returns to her tower, the angel has reappeared, this time taking her and leaving her boots to the raiders. Just when she got done telling us all of her horrific trauma, she gets even more. The girl has been kidnapped, and of course the cleaners have no idea. It really hurts because it was like Amo had finally found the light she was looking for. But the worst part is, it's not for about 50 chapters that we see what has happened to her. With time, Rudo learns something's happened to Amo when the raiders have her boots, and even though he reclaims them, Amo is nowhere to be seen. Rudo then decides to chase the info broker for answers when it comes to her location, all while we begin to slowly get clues of her situation ourselves. We begin to see glimpses of Amo in a jail cell chained up, kept here by Tamzy to mess with Rudo. Yup, he was the angel the whole time and was the one who took Amo back at the tower. But hey, this video isn't about Tamzy. That was my last one. I'm very tired of talking about this evil dude. All the poor girl can wish for is cake and Rudo. And considering they haven't seen each other since they made up, it makes the moment Rudo does finally save her all the more sad. Rudo takes Amo in his arms after finally saving her, while Tamzy appears to give her boots back. Amo can't tell it was him who kidnapped her because of the Watchman book. Waking up in the hospital safe, Amo is a reaction to the IV. It's similar to Tamzy's vital instrument, but she can't connect the dots yet. Regardless, Rudo is at her side right now, with the plant. Interesting look, Rudo. Rudo gives her the boots, reaffirming that she's okay while stating he's glad she's alive. Mymo responds, she's hurt a lot of people and Rudo taught her that actions have consequences. This led her to thinking being imprisoned was punishment, but she can't stand the thought of disappearing again. With tears streaming down her face, she thanks Rudo for coming to save her. A couple chapters later, we watch Rio check in on Rudo, finding him giving Mymo a flower. Yes, they're super cute. Mymo states she has a lot more energy and is getting better as Rio tells Rudo he's needed elsewhere, leaving Mymo face to face with, oh my god, Rio, what are you doing? Yeah. Reading this weekly, this scene sucked because we did not get an answer for months. It's not till like 10 chapters later where upon returning from a mission, Rudo finds Mymo safe and sound. It was terrifying, trust me. She pops up healthier than ever, glowing even more, with a new outfit to boot. I have to say it, but this outfit perfectly emphasizes that cutesy love vibe. It really fits her. I'm telling ya, Urana loves Mymo just as much as we do. Rio appears stating that Mymo joined the cleaners so she helped her fix her hair up. And for now, she'll join them as a healer. The cliffhanger we were left with is revealed to us. Rio had confronted Mymo about her vision her scent had given her way back. Mymo stating she had no idea what it was, but she wants to change. She doesn't want to be that person anymore. We then see a scene where Corvus had told her that she could heal hearts, but her ability is still imperfect. Therefore, the cleaners will help her polish that ability. The second engine speaks to her, specifically talking about her clothes. She's upset. She definitely doesn't like him. Finally, Rudo asks if anything has come to her mind about who captured her, but it's still one giant scribble in her mind. With this, Mymo is seated as a part of the main cleaner cast. Since Rudo has saved her, her own arc is over till it's time to expose Tamzy, or at least that's what I'm expecting. He's just still out there being evil right now. But for now, the manga is in the Doll Festival arc, an arc that isn't necessarily about Mymo yet, but who's to say she won't become a big part of it. Most of her appearances are ones like this. When Rudo is teleported to the stage, Mymo simply gets a scary face and asks if she should give the woman smells. I just thought this one was silly. Though her final appearance as of right now consists of her showing up to stop the people rushing the stage. Her Watchman power able to overcome the control on them with hers. Mymo then begins to cheer on everyone fighting, stating her power to cheer and uplift them comes from love. It's then she's stopped by Mymo, the villain of this arc, who questions if it was a love when Rudo had punched her. She had fought him yet now helps him. Does she love Rudo? Is Rudo just a replacement for her abuser she had killed? He tries his very hardest to swindle her. Mymo doesn't care. Her and Rudo made up. Mymo had only known cold hands before Rudo's. Because of Rudo's warm hands, her world has become bigger. Mymo speaks up again as Mymo relives the moment Corvus had invited her to the cleaners. He had told her that she can use her experiences with her power to uplift others. Mymo takes this thought and acknowledges that she has no experience. She had lived her whole life in the tower. Her power, as it is, might as well be useless because she's been nowhere with it. Engine then steps in to save her, and despite hating him, she asks if she could ever be a person who uplifts others. Engine is honest with her about the situation. He tells her that, yes, she's useless. What Mymo had said is absolutely correct, so she should melt and experience discouragement. If this bothers her, she can stand up and prove him wrong. Then she'll finally experience vindication. And yeah, that's where we leave off on Mymo. A bit of a sour note, but one we all know will result in her becoming even better. I think it's pretty perfect Mymo is a moment like this. Sure, things are getting better, but the road ahead is guaranteed to be rocky. Overcoming these bumps is the most important part in getting where she wants to go. I also think having Engine be the one who helps her through it is a great choice. It's just like when he had helped Rudo earlier, he can now do the same for Mymo. It's a very beautifully thought out and written full circle moment. Also, Engine is like a big brother to both of them. I know Ammo isn't like any other character in Gachiakuta I've spoke about, but her tale is definitely a different type of tale than theirs, one showcasing how great of a writer Urana can be. While the other videos are about villains, Ammo is a case of trauma, one full of sad and delicate details, and it's amazing to see how well thought out this character was, and how much life she's brought to the story. I think you could probably have understood this by now, but Ammo is my favorite character in Gachiakuta. Not only is her style just very fun, but she's one of many characters you can't help but endlessly root for, if anything her more than others. She's a star of hope in the story, one we all want to get the best ending possible. Saying she deserves it is the understatement of the century. Lastly, I just want to say that I think if Ammo seen what everybody thought of her in Gachiakuta, she'd simply state her name, Ammo. I love. She loves what people think about her. I think that's the best part about her. She's a character all about love that's just so easy to love as a reader. But that's the end of the video. What did you think of Ammo? What did you think of her powers? Was her story as sad to you as it was to me? And of course, what do you think her future will look like? Don't forget, Gachiakuta is a brand new series. This is one of the most insane villains I've ever seen. From stabbing himself for pleasure, to weird words and facial expressions, to the anime portraying him like this.
Got some pretty good game for a worn out, foul-mouthed, butthurt, ratchety, short-stacked sphere, right?
We've got a real character on our hands. His name is Jabberwonger, and he first appears in Gachiakuta chapter 10. He appears to interrogate someone about Rudo, before killing the person he was asking. Yeah, we can't even see his face yet, and he's already a bit crazy. He then makes his formal appearance when the cleaners are tricked into a battle with the raiders, their goal to take Rudo. As Zanka takes down two grunts, Jabber strikes from the shadows, us still not seeing his face as he leaves Zanka out cold. We then cut back to the others and Rudo making a quick escape, and upon hearing footsteps, they believe it's gotta be Zanka, right? Hopefully? Nope, it's not Zanka at all. This man looks to Rudo before jumping on the wall right behind him, destroying the exit before he's yet again on the other side of the room. Of course, it's our man of the video, Jabber, a fan favorite and in my opinion one of Urana's coolest designs. Her characters are always stylish, that's a given, but she's very inclusive. It's very cool to see characters like Jabber who represent a huge group of people, especially because this type of thing feels so rare in the manga industry. Diversity is really cool, let's show it more. Jabber sighs about being late before stating he's here for the same reason as the others, Rudo. But when they all ask about Zanka, it's learned that Jabber poisoned him and he's out cold. He then brandishes his vital instrument, rings that extend into a pair of claws covered in poison, causing Gris to push Rudo out of the way, stating he'll protect him. Jabber flexes his claws yet again as Rudo tries to tell Gris that he can help, but it's too late. Jabber has punctured Gris with a handful of blades, him out and likely already dead. Rudo stands shocked, the image of Gris stabbed reminding him of his foster father, it fading to black as he finds himself grasping his lucky charm. Yet Jabber just made the worst mistake of his life. Rudo is a main character who just got a flashback, meaning Jabber is about to get beat pretty bad. Rudo has harnessed Gris's lucky charm as his vital instrument, it coming to life as an all-imposing mass, the eyes steadily watching Jabber as he sits in awe, literally salivating. Yes, Jabber is salivating seeing Rudo's vital instrument. He even says it's pretty sick. Rudo then thanks Gris. He showed him what he's always wanted to do, find worth in stuff thrown away, and now he won't forget that. He states he'll reject everything Jabber says and accept everything he rejects. They share names before Jabber jumps in, him springing across the building yet Rudo not budging an inch. He tries to attack Rudo, but it becomes clear that somehow the charm is literally pushing Jabber away. I just have to say he becomes especially crazy during this battle too. yelling for Rudo to say his name as he wildly swings his oversized claws. I mean, I'd be worried about hitting myself. Though no matter what he does, Jabber can't hit Rudo. Rudo revealing Gris prayed to the charm that people would come home in one piece, and Rudo sees it as an enemy never landing a hit, and so when Jabber approaches, it shoves him aside. Rudo then embodies Gris in every way, using his favorite weapon, his fists, to land a devastating blow on Jabber. And you know, Jabber, I told you the second you got a flashback, you should've left. Yet, you know, we got the impression he's pretty crazy, and so he laughs it all off. He can push him away no matter what, and the weapon he uses is just his fists. Jabber calls it sloppy and lazy. He then asks if Rudo feels guilty when he hurts him. Rudo saying, yeah, normally he would, but not for Jabber, leaving Jabber glad and smiling as he jumps in to take a series of hits. I think he's starting to enjoy this. Even when Jabber tries to disguise himself behind rubble, he's noticed by Rudo's all-seeing charm, and so he's continuously hit over and over till he eventually realizes something. With a crazed smile on his face, he notices the charm didn't redirect rubble because it has no consciousness. And so Jabber proposes an, well, I'll say interesting idea. Say he took a really powerful toxin and stabbed himself. He'll knock himself out and wreck stuff unconsciously. Well, Jabber does just that. He takes his vital instrument, Mankira, and shoves them into his chest, fading to black till Jabber becomes crazed, somehow even more than before, screaming wildly as he dashes at Rudo, just barely missing while tearing the room to shreds. Rudo realizes that Jabber really did that, saying he's either really committed and experienced, or maybe he's a masochist, someone who likes pain. And you know, Jabber is probably somehow worse than that. He likes it a bit too much. Thankfully, when things are starting to get really bad and Rudo realizes he has no way to beat him, Zanka strikes Jabber down, ready to get his well-earned get back. The thing is, everything is still in Jabber's favor. Zanka is still a bit iffy from the poison. He may say, don't underestimate average Joe, Mr. Innate Talent, but you can tell Zanka's hurting. And so, having watched the battle, he's hatched a plan. He wants to hit Rudo. Let me explain this one. Charm redirects attacks. If he hits Rudo, he'll be flung. If he does that with the long staff, he can catch Jabber and easily beat him. And surprise, knowing Jabber knocked himself out with poison and got crazy, this too actually works. Zanka looks just as stunned as me. Jabber takes a series of heavy hits to the head, finally waking up as the duo lands their final blow. Yeah, Jabber's had quite a tough day. Put yourself to sleep, wake up, and get put to sleep again. I would say it's a bad day, but Jabber probably really likes this pain. Yet as they sit there in the aftermath, it's revealed it's not over yet. At some point, Rudo was hit by Jabber's claws, him now standing up and walking towards both Zanka and Rudo on the ground. He reveals that his left claws have a toxin that numbs the pain, while the right claws contain the toxin that left them both poisoned. And the thing is, they wear off faster with him because he's tried them so much. Jabber then takes Rudo, jumping out of the building with glee, yet as he realizes the area's been disturbed, he finds Rio. All before, Engine sends him flying straight into a building. He's arrived with a group of cleaners since they've lost contact. And now, in the wall broken and covered in blood, Jabber smiles and gets even more excited. Yeah, not crazy at all, leaving everyone to look to Rudo as they realize he's been fighting a psychopath. But they're not trying to let Jabber get away with this. He readies another frenzy, but then he's grabbed from behind before anything happens. It's time for them to return. Jabber's caught off guard because he still hasn't got Rudo, but the woman states the boss had a great big smile, and so all of a sudden he's ready to disappear into a manhole the woman created. Yet he first notices Rudo's vital instrument, his gloves, calling them a series before returning to his boss. From there, it's a little bit till we see Jabber. We only really see him retrieve Ammo's boots before he later shows up in the Raider Trash Storm arc. Upon luring the cleaners into a trap, Zodil and his group of raiders face off against the cleaners. Jabber is beyond excited to fight the group again, as you might expect, and is even more excited when his opponent turns out to be Zanka. The two clash instantly, a beast against a beast, both set on being the last man standing. Jabber keeps his wicked facial expressions up as he mocks the bubbling poison in the arena. And I just have to say, this already looks pretty horrible to Zanka. How unlucky do you gotta be to end up in a poison arena with the dude who loves this stuff? Jabber touches the poison too. It burns the shit out of him. And this might be my favorite page with him. He's just... I can't even describe it. What a character, dude. Regardless, he just covered his claws in some new poison. Poison which he tries to flick at Zanka. Yet he pushes his staff under the ground and flips a piece of earth straight at Jabber. That's some crazy strength. With this, Jabber is crushed and Zanka walks around. He knows it wasn't that easy. And he's right. Jabber begins laughing like a maniac as he springs out of the ground, revealing the real form of his vital instrument. Jabber states he can now let the real him play, revealing his claws are now inscribed with the name. Remember, instruments containing their name indeed become stronger. The user is fully confident in their item. Zanka is speechless as Jabber becomes all the more crazed and erratic. Jabber can tell Zanka is like him. He has to hold back to have a fun fight. The best thing to him is a real fight he can never win. And it seems like Jabber has finally found that. He can look forward to it. Can he? Yeah, that face is crazy. Though as Jabber continues on, Zanka sighs. He's out of tricks. As Jabber dashes at him, ready to crush everything, Zanka simply states he's one of them geniuses. He can't figure out how to beat Jabber. He's seen so many who claim to be gifted when they aren't. But Jabber, he can tell by the look in his eyes that he's the real deal. Zanka then states it's all the same. There's no way an average Joe can beat innate talent, a genius. But that's what makes beating him so damn satisfying. Jabber dashes in, destroying Earth as his claws wildly swing. Zanka forces the clash, dodge, and uses spear to fly into the air. All before Jabber whirls his claws in a circle like a whirlwind. Zanka cannot believe this. He can't move his instrument back either or he'll be hit. And before long, Jabber stops and sends him back with the ribcage crushing hit. Zanka tries his best to move from this spot, but in an instant Jabber is atop him, claws at his throat. But Zanka catches the instrument with his teeth, grabbing his staff and sending it straight into Jabber's side, crushing his ribcage as well, all before punching him in the same spot. Zanka refuses to let up, barreling towards him with his staff while yelling he'll reach his level, ready to end this as he sends a kick straight to Jabber's jaw. Yet while flying back, Jabber wildly swings his claws, just barely hitting Zanka. It sends him to the ground, Jabber walking up maniacally as he reveals Zanka's been hit with a really bad poison, stabbing him once more as Zanka's assist staff returns to normal, meaning it's over. Jabber has completely beaten Zanka, him locked into hallucinations due to his crazy poison mixture. Jabber dances in glee as he reflects on the battle, but then he notices the smile on Zanka's face. He too wants to have fun. And so, well, what do you think Jabber would do? Knowing him by now, what would he do? Well, of course he stabs himself too. He wants the same hallucinations. And what do I even say to that? Like, Jabber, you not even might, you definitely do have a problem. Though if you recall, Jabber has tested these on himself. His tolerance is high, so he recovers way before Zanka. And as he begins to celebrate completing the mission, he's shot. Like with the gun. Ryo brandishes a firearm and shoots the hell out of Jabber, walking over and standing over him shooting till he's out completely. But knowing Jabber, This was probably the best he's ever felt. He probably loved eating those bullets. Though this leaves our boy out of commission for the rest of the arc. Though there is one moment I actually want to speak of. When Jabber is retrieved and shown to Zodil, he states Jabber needs more reform, which is a very random and interesting thing to say. I'll state what I think this means towards the end of the video. But our crazy madman next appears when the raiders clash with the cleaners over the info broker. Him jumping on their car, ready to get, well, Jabber crazy. Look at his face. It's just Jabber crazy. Jabber stands up and starts mouthing off, smashing into the cleaner's car, ready to frenzy as Rio kicks him straight in the face. He instantly remembers her, but not her hairstyle. She corrects him, which is hilarious, before Jabber shouts he wants to be shot again. Which, what did I say a second ago? He likes it. Just, what a guy. What a guy. Jabber and Rio continue their crazy blade battle before all of a sudden Fu bursts through the ceiling, revealing himself to now be high. Jabber watches this whole thing, stating Fu is a cursed doll he lets take over, but he calls it nothing more than a story. In a single punch, he shatters Jabber's arm. Hai now described as his very flesh being a vital instrument, meaning he's crazy strong. Proved as he destroys the tunnel and knocks Jabber out in a single shot. I mean, you gotta be pretty strong to beat the guy who loves pain in a single blow. But Jabber isn't off screen till he admits one more thing. He always knew Fu was hella tough. He even states his strength doesn't fit the concept of strength. And with this, the last panel we've seen of Jabber for now is him stuck in ink, unable to further chase the cleaners. And he's just silly here. Jabber is clearly not the main villain of Gachiakuta, though I think many would agree that he's the most enjoyable enemy in the series. When he first appeared in the anime for the first time, he instantly became a fan favorite, as not only was he portrayed perfectly, but his raw, crazy energy is just fun. Who can hate it? Though I think I might even say that it's portrayed better in the manga. His crazy facial expressions, insanely silly wordage, and how Urana will choose to draw his fierceness, it just can't be beat for me. Though now we have to consider where Jabber will go from here. Up to this point, he's been a lackey of the Raiders, a crucial soldier to Zodil because he creates chaos and has proved himself to be strong. Even if Jabber does it because he likes the pain and fighting, he's valuable for the cause. If I had to guess, Jabber will of course remain a crazy strong asset, hopefully not getting pushed to the background in favor of others. I mean, I don't think anyone will ever get tired of Jabber's energy. Though, I think Zodil might have some more sinister plans for Jabber. For a calculated guy like Zodil, Jabber feels wild, but he keeps him around. Of course he has his strength, his poisons, but how loose and crazy he is seems risky for a guy like Zodil. I think the reason this could be for that reform he mentioned. Zodil is a mad scientist type of villain, willing to use anything and manufacture anything for his goal. Would reforming his own ally be too crazy? Of course it wouldn't. Jabber is fierce, knowledgeable about deadly poisons, likes pain, and has great mastery over his vital instrument. If Zodil could reform that craziness into one direction for his needs, well, he would have a super soldier. Could this maybe be Jabber's future? For the guy who made a trash beast and manipulated the hell out of Rudo? All I'm saying is that it's possible. Ultimately though, we have no real idea. Gachiakuta is a brand new story with tens of unexplained mysteries and tons of plot to explore. At the moment, the Raiders are all out of commission and will be for a while. The next time we see them, they're bound to be changed, meaning Jabber's next appearance will be even crazier than the last. I would bet he has some weird and crazy facial expressions and tricks up his sleeve. And I know we all can't wait to see his unstable, wild energy again. Though until then, I guess we'll just all have to keep a close eye out for Jabber. Did you know the Raider Sathoni is 27 years old? Yeah, despite her small stature and quietness, she's the second oldest of the group. Though appearances aside, this explains quite a lot. And by a lot, I mean her vital instrument. Sathoni's vital instrument is a manhole she uses to quickly teleport herself, others, and various things. She'll also often use it for surveillance purposes, making her quite the scary opponent. In bright places, she can only warp to holes like pipes, while in the dark she can appear literally anywhere. The point is, her instrument is quite powerful and has lots of ways to be used, and her age actually explains this perfectly. The longer an instrument is in use, the stronger it gets. Sathoni being way older than the others means she's had time to master her power and make it stronger. Which only leaves the question, how do you think this manhole even became her instrument? Who is this? Well, this is a Gachiakuta cleaner named Guida. She's part of Team Child and introduced in the Trash Storm arc. And other than silly interactions with bugs, she doesn't do a whole lot during this arc other than be silly. I mean, it makes it lovable, but she doesn't do anything till the very end of the arc. It's then we see her vital instrument, and I have to say it's one of the most incredible instruments in the series. Her entire onesie she wears is her instrument. It allows her to increase her size and turn into a monster, taking up the entirety of the trash beast they're inside of. And apparently, it seems like she can get even bigger, as this was only referred to as a level, which is just crazy and one of the coolest powers I've ever seen. I can't wait to see more of it in the future, but what do you think? Sumiyu might have the most broken instrument in Gachiakuta. Introduced as the silly receptionist, it's learned she has the ability to see people's potential using her glasses. When she's later shown using these glasses to fight, they grant her insane perception, allowing her to matrix bullets and catch rockets, which is crazy. Though her most recent appearance is the biggest shock of all. While before her glasses just seemed alright, they become overpowered when it's revealed she might be able to see into the future. Let me explain. When a vital instrument is missing the user's name, it means the person is purposely or subconsciously holding back. And in a conversation with Engine, she reveals that if she writes her name on her glasses, she'll gain the ability to see into the future. The only issue is that it could cause her to become blind. But even then, she defends it, saying as long as it's not for too long, it'll be okay. Even with downsides, this ability seems incredibly powerful, and this being her glasses' true ability makes it make sense as to why Boss always counts on her. Fu is the insanely happy yet eternally sad character every series has to have. While not much is known, we know he has a horrific backstory, though on the surface, he appears to be nothing more than a silly, happy-go-lucky boy. This is my quick and exclusive deep dive into Fu. Enjoy. Upon being sucked into the trash beast, the cleaners face the raiders, Fu being one of these new faces. Upon being separated, Fu ends up against Engine in a one-on-one, where he ignores him? Engine spouts on, yet we see Fu just thinks he's cool. Okay, that was an introduction, one of all time. The ground begins to rumble. Some of the other raiders are finishing their fights, but Fu hasn't even begun. He panics as he introduces himself, stating he'll be in big trouble if he's the last to finish his fight. And panicking even harder, he asks Engine to hit him first. Yeah, no, Engine denies him quick. He goes on to leave Fu. If nothing's happening, he needs to find his crew. And Fu just shouts that it's a trash beast they're inside of. Yeah, one thing to know about Fu is that he's quiet until it comes to a secret. Which, just, what a guy. Anyways, Engine leaves, and now Fu is stuck in the same place wallowing. He cries, asking why anyone won't give him orders. He falls apart even more as he begins to hear a booming voice. "You disgust me." The voice is very upset. He knew Fu was useless without him. Fu picks it up and immediately becomes happy, saying, "Hi, it's you." The being now asking to trade places. They'll blow this joint. Yeah, whatever Fu was talking to allowed him to escape the trash beast and finally move on from that spot, all unscathed as he pops up when the cleaners head to Canvas Town. Though he instantly begins begging for orders on his own, the voice again yelling at him. The voice sounds a lot like him except mean. as it tells him to make contact with the new host, a new person to give them orders. The voice is then revealed to be a doll, the cursed doll Hai. And if this sounds odd, it should sound odd. There's been no mentions of cursed dolls in Gachiakuta. Regardless, he declares he'll now be ordered by Engine the Cleaner. Oh, but seeing Ruto and the group up to some nonsense, more wallowing comes first. A couple chapters pass and the cleaners are puzzled over dinner, and when they ask about the watchman's shoes, Fu appears to spill another secret. Everyone panics, but those with ill will cannot enter the city, meaning Fu isn't up to any bad. Well, unless you consider him begging Engine to be a minion is bad. He then goes on to blab another secret, that the chokers might be a Watchmen series item, before asking again to be a minion. Fu's tactic is pretty simple, spill secret, minion time. From there, Fu ends up following the cleaners. In Engine's words, he'll have to gain their trust first things first, which lands him in the backseat as the cleaners go meet the info broker. Fu actually seems quite happy with this outcome, that is, till the raiders appear. He immediately panics and reveals he told all their secrets, and I don't know why he thought they'd want to hear that. Fu has now ruined every chance he has of being a raider again, though things get hectic as Fu's employers battle it out. Jabber's claws going straight through the ceiling, and Gris ends up begging Fu for a helping hand. His hand then slams through the ceiling. It would seem this was an ample order, Fu grasping his doll as he declares it's Hai's turn. Fu transforms and screams, "Oh, give him hell. It's Hai time." Though with this, we get a small glimpse into something odd. Tears fall as Fu states, "I never want to take responsibility again." That's why he lives life according to someone else's orders. He grasps Hai as we watch them switch places, their personalities swapping out. Back to reality. He declares he's Hai, but Jabber calls this a story. Hai corrects him. It's a pact. When Fu has no orders and wants to bust something up, his body becomes Hai's. Jabber strikes, yet a single punch from Fu shatters Jabber's arm. Hai's body being described as its very flesh being a vital instrument as he strikes the tunnel, then Jabber down, finishing him and destroying everything in a few simple hits. Fu/Hai having won effortlessly. With this, Fu is left in the tunnel as the cleaners speed off, him eventually left in Ruto's Remlin Ink monster. But more importantly, I want to speak about that personality switch. This is very interesting, as a vital instrument switching a user's personality or how they act literally has only happened with Fu. This leads me to the obvious. I think Fu simply suffers from some sort of personality issue, and Hai is the outcome of that. Or maybe Fu is the outcome of that. We actually don't know. Maybe he had found a doll and it helped him with this issue. It was an outlet for a personality, and with the magic of anima, that personality came to life in a vital instrument. But Fu is later picked up with Rio, being interrogated to make sure he doesn't see the cleaners as enemies. When Rio returns to Cleaner HQ, Fu follows. Not fully cleared, but being here is already a big step. But that's when Samiyu tells him to go speak to Corvus, and I guess this conversation must have gone well, as Fu ends up at the doll festival with everyone else. Ammo then asks Fu why he's only joined the cleaners on a trial basis, him sinking in his skin as he reveals he was never ordered to. Again, can't do anything without orders. It hints of sadness, but it's immediately covered up with a joke, as we see him shouting at Corvus in the silliest way possible. Though this time Fu goes a bit deeper, stating, "You've never made a decision for yourself that turned out to be a big mistake." And I think we just got Fu's origin story. While I will say it was somewhat obvious, the implication is that something tragic happened and now Fu doesn't want to make his own choices. What this event is, we don't know. But if it was bad enough to live a life like this, it must be a nightmare. Though, of course, this has to connect to Hai in some way, but how, we have no idea. Was Hai a byproduct of this moment? Or has Fu always had trouble with personality-related issues? Or maybe, Hai is the original personality, and after that bad choice, maybe Fu was created. Though Fu's most recent appearance is him lifting Ammo up so she can use her boots as power. And after she yells at him, he thinks maybe her giving him orders isn't that bad. Regardless, they continue cheering together as a team, and I really do think teaming up with Ammo can be great for him, as she's someone who was stuck in every way, wrapped into her own pain and making bad choices because of it. But now she's grown past it, even if she's still in the beginning stages. Hopefully she can set an example for Fu. They both appeared around similar times and they've already got a friendship going. Maybe one day he too can get an explosively great moment where he pushes past the pain. But for now, that's where we leave off on Fu, a character that is extra silly but without a doubt sad. Urana has constantly been placing hints that there's a deep, horrific backstory, and I know we all can't wait to see it. Also, I really want to know about Fu and Hai. Maybe Fu was the created personality, not Hai. That would be a twist. But I also want to know how it just manifested into a vital instrument. I'm curious. Regardless, I hope it's all revealed in a fun, amazing moment, though done in a way where Fu's silliness is kept in check. I mean, he's a silly little guy. I'll miss that if it disappears. Though what do you think Fu's story will play out as? Make sure to let me know. Gontus without a doubt has the most horrific backstory so far in Gachiakuta. His tale is one of fear, a man backed into a corner with no options. One of torture, taken advantage by a devil who promised him the world. And one of utter hopelessness, begging for a sliver of hope again to see his star. But before we even get into Gontus's horrific character story, you need a lot of context. I was gonna say a small amount, but no, it's a lot. So we begin pretty far back, all the way in chapter 29 when chokers are first named. Rudo is told to take off his chokers as his cleaner friends expose their blood, taking it off and putting it onto his choker. These chokers are basically phones, and while you'd need a phone number for a phone, chokers need blood, so everyone demands Rudo's blood. Introducing chokers in this silly moment makes us really not think too much of them. Everyone wears them and they quickly become normal to us. It literally reads as a comedic bit to explain how they communicate in this trashy world. But you also gotta realize, blood is an oddly creepy thing to need. Later down the line, as Rudo slowly learns the truth about the Watchman series, he's introduced to the idea that these chokers, a vital instrument, may very well be a part of the series. This, plus a few other reasons, leads him to wanting to meet this choker maker. The issue is, the guy is incredibly secretive, and creepily enough, the info broker states he listens to literally everything. He tells this in the form of an ominous letter, building up the idea that this guy, this mystical, mysterious figure, a guy who made his chokers the norm for communication, like us in smartphones, may very well be up to something nefarious. Also, kinda like the people who give us our smartphones. Also, trust me, it sounds like I'm off topic, but all of this I'm saying is very important. I'm gonna have to talk about a good few things before Gontus's name is even said. Ultimately though, he tells Rudo he'll find the choker maker at the doll festival. He needs to go there and look for the white crow. The crow will lead him to the choker maker, yet he can't say anything. A peep and the listening choker maker is gone. And with this, the time finally comes to head down to the doll festival. The place is bright, magical, straight out of a fairy tale. But that's not why we're here. When the main show begins, Rudo dreads that he doesn't feel close to the crow. But as the show explosively starts, there it is. The white crow is a person, the queen of entertainment, 2 Lily. She begins her magical performance. Music, switches outfits, apparitions behind her, all the result of her wand-like vital instrument. Really cool, by the way. But the big issue is, how does Rudo speak to such a star? Well, turns out there's a raffle ticket. Winner speaks to her. And you already know who wins. It's Rudo. He's teleported to the stage in an instant, terrified as he looks up at 2 Lily, a being who emits an ominous presence. Better yet, she clads him in a dark curtain, all before she pulls a choker out of her... Yeah, we'll leave it at that. She tells him that this is a special choker and he needs to put it on after the stage, but it'll appear as something different to everyone else. That being a bra, a huge bra. Yes, I'm so serious. If you are listening to this audio only, you are missing out on this panel. Regardless, Rudo finally begins to hear a voice from the choker, saying, "I am the choker maker. I know what you wish for. I have info and a piece of the Watchman series. If you want them, destroy the doll festival." They tell Rudo there's no time to waste as he breaks down confused, finally yelling that he can't do that, before this choker maker speaks to Lily? They're close, and I guess it was a misunderstanding. Lily slacked and didn't tell Rudo everything. In reality, Rudo needs to save the people. There's someone using his chokers for malicious purposes. It's been a long time plan, and now the person has found a way to rule the world. He'll use the chokers to command the people, everyone wearing them, and Mymo will be the one to control them. With this, the overarching plot about these chokers seems to come to light. Everyone has these chokers indeed because of the choker maker, and he seemed to want everyone to have the chokers, but the reason something bad is happening or that they're nefarious isn't because the choker maker, rather someone using the choker maker's chokers. And the idea of him being used, well, all of a sudden him being mysterious makes a lot more sense. Rudo, having heard what we haven't, yells that Mymo not only took the choker maker's feet, but his parents who raised him. Mymo smiles as we finally learn this choker maker's name, Gontus. We then begin to slowly spiral into learning about Gontus, the star of this video, beginning with where it all started, the chokers. He imbues a random cord with his blood to create the choker. Because it's the Watchmen series, it's immensely powerful and therefore can be mass produced. And what Mymo does is drink the blood attached to every choker on the ground, meaning he has a connection to every single person, and is now planning to use his very own vital instrument, a microphone, to control them. He has Gontus caged up, extracting his blood constantly to create chokers, all for this sadistic, insane plot of world domination. We then begin to see horrific glimpses of Gontus, far away and frail, strapped to a chair and pinned with needles, his body's blood being stolen as fast as it can be created. Mymo speaks to him through a radio. It's been 20 years since this began. His chokers have taken the place as the top communicator. When Mymo had met him, he had ambition, till one day he had abruptly stopped. He comments on Gontus's rebellion. It must have taken tons of effort. After all, he ordered him to report everything he learns through the chokers to him. Perhaps he's built up a resistance to his power. Gontus shuts him up. He wants something, right? He knew Mymo would come when the tides turned. Now he'll try and use one of his weaknesses against him, but he has no more weaknesses. Mymo has taken his family, freedom, even his dignity. He's used everything, and now his words will have no effect. This isn't a rebellion, it's revenge. Rudo will finish this. Even if Gontus dies, Rudo will close the curtain. Quietly, Mymo states, to Lily. He understands she's an old friend, one who he gifted his first ever choker to. It must have taken tremendous effort to hide her. But seeing Rudo, he was convinced, and now Gontus is going to do one last thing. Gontus's eyes light into fear as we go into a flashback, him listening in on his grandparents. Gontus won't make it into adulthood. He was born with a weak heart. Both of his parents died to a disease he himself has. He won't live much longer. The only piece he has is his Watchman necklace. Gontus states his body has no future, only pain. At least he is lucky to have something to cling to. His grandpa gave him the necklace. It was from the Sherbrooke family. He's never to give it to anyone who isn't part of the Sherbrooke family, as it won't be kind to just anyone. The necklace to those fulfilled is poison, to those empty it brings peace, and to a master it offers a choice. And as been fully expressed in Gachiakuta, this is true to Gontus. When he touches the necklace, it distracted him from the emptiness. Even so, he cries. When is he going to die? A young girl sits outside of his window. Gontus is surprised, and so he touches the chair, startling the girl. She apologizes and tries to introduce herself, but her stomach rumbles. Somehow, she ends up inside at the family's dinner table. Introducing herself as Lily, Gontus' family happy to help her. Gontus looks away. It must be nice to be full of life. She should go away. He wants quiet. It all makes him sick. Harsh, but understandable feelings. It's a troubling comparison. He's soon to die and is painfully aware of it. And out of nowhere, a girl 10 times more lively appears. Though the family then lifts her hair, revealing unhealable damage. Time passes and she's become a regular. Gontus asking, "Aren't your parents worried about you?" Lily cheerfully replying, "Nope, they're gone. They said she was too noisy, getting mad at her till they finally left her in the trash heap. She was lonely, but she worked really hard to find her way home. And the house was empty, which is just horrible. Even worse, she wallows, saying if she's too noisy, she won't come over anymore." And for the first time we've seen in his backstory, Gontus' background isn't dark. He views the light. He knows he doesn't have a future, but at least he has a home. He states his grandparents smile when Lily's there, so she can come over whenever. Gontus had thought his frozen heart would go on without ever thawing. But now he has to find out that when it connects to someone, even a frozen heart can start to feel warmth. This has to be fate. A boy with no possible future, full of feelings of erupting despair, meets a girl with no past, yet a future full of bright feelings and happiness. They couldn't be any more different, and their circumstances couldn't be any more wrong and apart. But I don't even need to say it, it's clear as day that somehow this is what each of them needed. Lily needed someone to listen to her joy and be happy to receive said joy. And Gontus needed anyone, someone who just wouldn't look at him like a young boy that's gonna die. He needed a person who treated him like a person, someone with life and real spirit. We resume as time passes, Gontus teaching Lily to read. Her really loving books about clowns and magic. Gontus states don't give in to impulses. That's how to live with a limited lifespan, because the impulses are what causes the shortness of breath. And just, what a sad thing to say. Basically saying, getting excited is what causes his near-death bouts, so he just fears and won't do it. Lily then finds a quote, staff. Well, actually to her, a sorcerer's wand. In reality, it's Gontus' grandma's cane, but Lily concludes grandma can use magic, a belief the lady indulges, leaving Lily with a smile. The cutest part of this scene is that I'm pretty sure this cane is her vital instrument. The one she used to cast magic and change outfits during the doll festival. The assumption is that she loved these people, the idea of magic, and valued them so much after their eventual deaths that she held on to the cane and it even became her instrument. I think that is so beautiful. This chance meeting was literal magic to her, and, well, she's just magical, she's a star. In the excitement, Gontus then has his first attack in a while, falling to the floor unable to breathe. But Lily is right there, him happy enough to cry, stating oxygen came easier than usual. How sweet. Lily then heads home, even though Grandma offers her a place to stay, saying she can live with them matter of fact. She still heads home. The whole time, as Gontus has been learning about Lily, he wonders how she can smile. And as she walks off on this cold, dark night, right after his devastating attack, he continuously states he wants to know. He wants to hear it. He wants to hear Lily's real voice. The oxygen mask in his hand transforms into a choker as the Watchman necklace activates, revealing vital instrument, Impulse. The first impulse he's ever had, which he had prior stated would kill him, made him into a giver. Of course, the first person to get a choker is Lily, and of course, she thinks Gontus is a wizard. Just adorable. Gontus had never thought he'd be a giver. He had thought he was empty. but Lily states they can now be together whenever, and he blushes. The best part being is that he again states, impulses cause shortness of breath, which their friendship is so perfect. Though late into that night, he hears mutters from his choker, listening to Lily cry. Why won't her mother come home? Revealing the reason she went home was that she wanted to feel connected to her parents, hoping for a miraculous return. And with this, everything is sadly clear. Lily does everything to make others happy and to appear happy herself. As Gontus puts it, it's an attempt to fight back. Basically, fake it till you make it. Maybe pretending to be the happiest thing in the world makes her actually happy. He speaks to Lily through the choker. He's here. He'll be her home. His real power is to reach those who wear their chokers, to open the door in their hearts. And the worst part is that we understand Mymo is ruthlessly using that power, and Gontus sees no other option but to allow it, as this Lily's life is now on the line. Though with this, he makes one final attempt to reach his goal. He appears to Ruto in a dreamlike scape. This is the true power of his vital instrument Connect, to show Ruto his thoughts and memories. The power of the necklace is to connect people's souls through thoughts and voices. Gontus has opened the heart to everyone wearing a choker, yet Ruto is the only one to receive the memories of his. It's a very heavy burden. Gontus's power was built up to us as a creepy idea, a silly but unnerving blood-infused telephone you wear on your neck. With this, it was further explored through a mysterious veil, one where you could easily assume he's a bad guy, one listening in on everything and plotting something horrible. But now it's clearer than ever he's a burdened man with a heart of pain, yet one of gold. There is no better example than this, that even when connecting his soul to Ruto's, conversating in his own created place, he's shackled in the very place Lily sat. Lily is his heart, and now she's locked down, threatened to be taken from him, and he can only view himself as powerless and in chains. He wants to connect, to watch Lily glow, yet he can only view himself stuck as that little boy in shackles. Ruto is then forced to watch how Gontus met Mymo, him introducing himself and asking, does Gontus like high places? They make you feel like you hold the entire world in your hands. He has heard of Gontus's chokers, asking him to join him. He even gave Gontus the best medical treatment possible. It's the only reason he currently lives. Gontus was told to run, eat, and earn freely. It was happiness. Happiness he couldn't tell was from the devil. He set his sights on the chokers. With time, they sprouted up everywhere. He wanted to use the money to build a house for Lily and his family. Though over time, he became possessed by the job, speaking to no one, locking himself in a dark, dingy room. It's an image of despair. Here, he tells Ruto to never let his goal take him captive. When that happens, you'll lose sight of what matters the most. A very important statement to Ruto, as his goals are constantly changing and evolving, and he's possibly the most driven character in the series. This is a very important thing for him of all people to see. Yet Mymo, hearing of this, hearing that he planned to stop, he revealed his plans to rule through the chokers. And when Gontus obviously refused, Mymo placed his grandparents' heads in front of him. Gontus cries out, that, and now he has Lily. He can't let it happen to her. Her power gives her the ability to do anything. Yet if it's used to harm, she will die. Lily's ignorance is her shield. If she loses that ignorance, notices the darkness around her, she will lose the ability to be the star of happiness she is. With all his breath, Gontus brings his head down, screaming for Ruto to help. He has no idea what Mymo will do, what the devil will do, but Ruto is his only hope. He needs him. Ruto yells that he's got this as Gontus explains Mymo's intentions. While Gontus' voice is one of sincerity, to touch another's soul, Mymo's voice will cause a soul to degenerate, to carry out any order he asks, even remaking themselves into something beyond human. The second Mymo is struck down, he takes full advantage of this, drinking his own blood and using his voice to degenerate himself. ordering himself to take a form beyond human. Mymo has commanded himself to become a higher power, appearing as a monstrous apparition no longer resembling himself, a battle Rudo has to fight, and one Gontus is forced to witness. Rudo is then beaten down, powerless in comparison to this unholy, crazed beast Mymo has become. Gontus tries to explain it as him becoming a god affected his mind, but Rudo is stern, making it clear that Gontus and his story meant the world to him, simply saying his goal consumed him and that he lost sight of what he wanted. He states he'll end Mymo. He'll use Gontus' Watchmen series powers with his own, and he'll turn into the same creature as Mymo. He'll use it against him and defeat him. Gontus cannot believe what he's hearing. He screams that Rudo cannot die for his revenge. His life isn't even worth anything anymore while Rudo has countless things to accomplish. Rudo corrects him. He's gonna die? No, he's just gonna kick his butt. Gontus is speechless. He didn't want Rudo to risk it all. Why does he feel like he can still rely on him? As Rudo transforms into a full-fledged werewolf demon, he concludes it's for one reason. It's Rudo's determination to stay true to his rage that makes Gontus able to believe in him against every odd. And with this, the final showdown begins. Gontus is forced to be nothing more than a witness. Though we jump back in time for a second, where Gontus calls Rudo's plan a mission that'll just send him to his death. 3R, when it's done with an item, disintegrates it. It would likely do the same for his body. Gontus panics. His plan has pushed Rudo to devalue himself, thinking of himself as an object. He thinks everything that's happened is on himself, Mymo's wrath, the threats against Lily's life, and now Rudo's staring death straight in the eyes. He begs anyone for an idea, just anything. He then wakes up. His mind was in captivity just as he is physically. He realizes he used others to solve his problems, but he too can help. And so, he has a plan for Rudo. He'll take an object and a person and fuse them together, recalling a scene of him and Lily as kids. Rudo will fuse himself with this hat, transforming, obtaining the same exact type of power, but without risking Rudo's life. As we've seen, it was a success. Rudo yells to Mymo. Gontus can open and connect to his soul. He gives people heartfelt words formed from a gentle place. Imagining this praise gives Rudo the power to crumble Mymo's godly body in a single strike. Gontus' power is officially in full effect. His heartfelt energy reaches someone's soul. It really happens. It's literally the ability to give someone power with caring words. Gontus has never seen this himself. Perhaps he wasn't ready to accept such a thing. Yet Rudo has now proved he can do literally anything. This power is strong enough to strike this false god down. And that's where we currently put a cap on Gontus, a character I think you can only describe as sad, despair, and tragic. He makes me want to cry. Growing up with no parents, a disease said to kill him before adulthood, and the fear if he even gets happy he'll die, Gontus has been despaired since day one. He says it all, wondering at times when he'll die. Lily then appears, and when that shortness of breath comes, he now has someone there. A person you can only describe as a light, and even though she had her own pain, through magical ideas like clowns and wizards, she wants to be a star. Gontus awakened his instrument to connect to others, to use his fragile life to open the door to others' hearts, to offer people like him who may have been sick and unable a chance to communicate like he had. Though like he had said, he made a deal with the devil. He found himself obsessed with his work at the hands of a person who was willing to enslave him for that very work. And now that devil has taken literally everything. The dream to connect has turned Gontus into a decrepit man, one forced into isolation, and one chained in shackles and needles. Yet he still has one hope, Lily, and he begs Rudo to fulfill that hope. I think in reality there's only two ways this tale of theirs ends. Gontus and Lily make it out hand in hand, together, both brutally apparent of the fragility in each of their hearts, or death. Gontus is broken and in the midst of it all, praying for Lily's safety and that she stays blissfully unaware of it. Yet she without a doubt likely has a suspicion. She's shown to be watching from afar, and I think it's ultra naive to assume she has no idea. She means the world to Gontus, but it's like he's forgotten it's the same for her. After all, her vital instrument is a magic wand and he is her wizard. Their tale is connected whether he likes it or not. Yet for now, their future is ultimately uncertain. The battle has yet to be complete, and who knows what awaits these two. But of course, let me know what you think of Gontus and Lily and where you think these two are going to go next. What do you think their fates will end up as? And how do you think the rest of the Doll Festival arc is going to go? Does hard work actually beat talent? Zanka from Gachiakuta aims to prove this, and this is shown through numerous losses which he painstakingly bounces back from. But even most recently, he's still losing, and these losses only grow more dire. Though this makes Zanka into an excellent, relatable character. Failure is what builds you, and Zanka is proof that if you push through failure, you too can become great. This video is of course all about Zanka, so thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy. Zanka first appears in chapter 4 when Rudo grabs a strange stick. A stick he uses to pin a cat down. Don't ask. You see, the stick is very important because it belongs to someone. Our main guy is Zanka, and he appears very angry at the fact Rudo has just stolen this very specific stick. He snags it back and caresses it, brandishing it in all its glory as the wooden stick transforms into a full-fledged staff, his vital instrument. And with this, it all makes sense. Of course Zanka is incredibly mad. He just thinks Rudo stole his precious thing. Rudo then has a moment of clarity and apologizes. Zanka's mood flipping in an instant as he extends a hand, even calling Rudo's gloves mad cool. I agree Zanka, they are mad cool. Now since they're having a nice moment, Rudo tries to answer Zanka with a smile. Oh god. Yeah, Rudo can't smile at all. Him telling Zanka he's just helping the cleaners till he reaches his goal. All with the worst face possible. This makes Zanka angry. He tries again, but this might be even worse, leaving Zanka to take it as Rudo trying to make a big joke about everything. Both of them now stare each other down as they realize they just won't get along. Though, the pipe in Rudo's hand then activates like an instrument, Zanka realizing Rudo can transform anything into a vital instrument. He calls this cheating before revealing a peculiar character trait, saying if innate talent is all he's got, then it'll never be ordinary him in a fight. He makes it obvious, but innate talent makes Zanka angry. He doesn't like people who just are powerful naturally. This is also stated right after being upset, thinking Rudo is joking about everything. It tells us one thing about Zanka. He doesn't like Rudo much, but he basically already said that. Zanka slams Rudo with his staff, toying with him as he pushes him back, finally slamming him to the floor before screaming? Oh god, Rudo is a plunger. That dark substance? It's poo. Zanka runs away screaming before Engine rolls in, dying laughing as he states Zanka is the closest he gets to a spoiled rich kid. Interesting. Engine then announces that Zanka will be Rudo's teacher. He's one of the best givers when it comes to handling vital instruments. That's a big compliment, but side note, it makes Zanka really happy. It's kind of adorable. But yeah, that's Zanka. His design is really cool and his personality is, well, interesting already. I personally am a big lover of his design though. It's rebellious feeling and very complex. He's one of the best examples of how much Urana's designs stick out. I wonder how long it takes her to draw everyone. Zanka is also introduced as a rival as teacher character for Rudo. I mean, they literally state that they pretty much don't like each other. And everything just points to those type of characters that are going to be at each other's necks for the whole series. But the rival thing really dissipates as he gets a handle on who Rudo is as a character. This all occurs as Zanka is brought on the next mission, learning of another possible spherite that turns out to be a trap. Zanka is left to fight the two raiders, them quickly summoning mud dolls. Zanka realizes it's because of the woman's shovel-like vital instrument, yet as he destroys one of the dolls, the other raider comes from inside. This proves quite a peculiar tactic, and while at first Zanka struggles, taking some hits and even falling into quicksand, all he needed was some time. Zanka realizes the other raider's vital instrument is his snowshoes. The lady will make mud, he can traverse it super easily. They make for a super cute couple, yet it's not enough to beat Zanka. He states he knows everything about his instrument, weight, scent, he even talks to it, showing how important care is when it comes to these things, all before slamming the ground and feeling out his staff's vibrations. This gives him the ability to sense which mud doll is weightier, allowing him to easily one-shot both the raiders. If they hadn't used those silly tactics, Zanka would have had it harder. He states this all before he's stabbed in the back by this creepy thing. Just kidding, it's Jabber. We love Jabber here. Anyways, Zanka is knocked out as Rudo is forced to face this threat, doing everything in his power to battle till he's cornered. Thankfully, Zanka strikes Jabber down, ready to get his well-earned get back. The thing is, everything is still in Jabber's favor. Zanka is still a bit iffy from the poison. He may say, "Don't underestimate average Joe, Mr. Innate Talent," but you can tell Zanka's hurting. And so, having watched the battle, he's hatched a plan. He wants to hit Rudo. Let me explain this one. Charm redirects attacks. If he hits Rudo, he'll be flung. If he does that with the long staff, he can catch Jabber and easily beat him. And surprise, knowing Jabber knocked himself out with poison and got crazy, this too actually works. Zanka looks just as stunned as me. Jabber takes a series of heavy hits to the head, finally waking up as the duo lands their final blow. Though Jabber quickly wakes to reveal he's won this fight, both of them are down due to his poison, him walking up to Zanka to almost flex his victory. He tells him all about his power with a huge smile, before jumping away saying, "See you later, Mr. Bad Attitude." While we were made to think Rudo was Zanka's rival, well, Jabber is here, and him and Jabber's rivalry goes crazy. Zanka is like a rich, spoiled brat, and Jabber is just unhinged. I think it's perfect. Though, with this encounter, Zanka has realized Rudo isn't all talk as he had once assumed. It told him that he's actually willing to work and get his hands dirty. He had thought Rudo was only special because of a special power, but now he has come to respect him. At first, Zanka also seemed like a rival, but from here on out he'll be more so of a teacher and trusted comrade, one always there for Rudo. Alas, this bond being formed tells us one big thing about Zanka. He really respects hard work. We're shown this later as he helps Rudo learn about his instrument, acting as a teacher. Also, he again gets really happy when being praised. Dude just loves his compliments, can't blame him. Though in the next arc, he doesn't do that much besides fight a scorpion trash beast in the sickest way possible, do some heavily approved aura farming, and be the only one not hit by Tamzy's vital instrument ultra attack. Love that guy Tamzy. But Zanka really gets active in the next Trash Storm arc, where Rudo and the Cleaners are sucked into a 5v5 against the Raiders, and you'd never guess who Zanka fights. It's our boy Jabber, his rival. The two clash instantly, a beast against a beast, both set on being the last man standing. Jabber keeps his wicked facial expressions up as he mocks the bubbling poison in the arena. And I just have to say, this already looks pretty horrible to Zanka. How unlucky do you gotta be to end up in a poison arena with the dude who loves this stuff? Jabber touches the poison too. It burns the shit out of him. Regardless, he just covered his claws in some new poison. Poison which he tries to flick at Zanka. Yet he pushes his staff under the ground and flips a piece of earth straight at Jabber. Like, how's that stick, like, not snapped in half? With this, Jabber is crushed and Zanka walks around. He knows it wasn't that easy, and he's right. Jabber laughs like a maniac as he springs out of the ground, leaving Zanka with a face of pure fear as he reveals the real form of his vital instrument. He yells out that Zanka must be like him, looking for someone he can go all out against, someone he doesn't have to hide his true strength from. someone he can show his brutality to. Zanka looks to the floor and sighs, but he's already out of tricks. He remarks that Jabber is another one of them. He's another genius. How can he beat someone like this? When people say they're a genius, it's normally a bluff. But he can tell Jabber's legit by the look in his eyes. No matter where he goes, it's all the same. They say, there's no way an average Joe can beat innate talent. But he yells. That's what makes beating him so damn satisfying. Zanka is astonishingly average. At least that's what he seems to think of himself. In the face of a genius, he's out of tricks, sighing in frustration. But it would seem that even if that really is the case, he aims to break the mold, prove that even an average Joe can beat a genius. This really explains why he respected Rudo's hard work, and why he seems to work hard himself. Engine introduced him for being the best with his instrument. That hard work makes a lot of sense now. Regardless, he fights back with more ambition than ever before. He dodges Jabber's monstrous claws, pushed back and forced on the defensive as no opening ever appears. He's forced to even push himself into the sky, and when Jabber becomes a claw whirlwind, he can only block. All considered, this is really rough for Zanka. I mean, Jabber is the definition of overpowered. One touch and his poison ends the fight. All while Zanka has a stick. Not to mention, he's a cleaner. They fight trash beasts, not humans. Zanka then takes a devastating ribcage crushing kick, forcing him to the ground. Zanka tries his best to move from this spot, but in an instant Jabber is atop him, claws at his throat. But Zanka catches the instrument with his teeth, grabbing his staff and sending it straight into Jabber's side, crushing his ribcage as well, all before punching him in the same spot. Zanka refuses to let up, barreling towards him with his staff while yelling he'll reach his level, ready to end this as he sends a kick straight to Jabber's jaw. Yet while flying back, Jabber wildly swings his claws, just barely hitting Zanka. It sends him to the ground, Jabber walking up maniacally as he reveals Zanka's been hit with a really bad poison, stabbing him once more as Zanka's assist staff returns to normal, meaning it's over. Jabber's poison has given intense hallucinations, sending Zanka into a flashback of his past. It's revealed Zanka's of royal blood, his family among the rank of Hell Guards, the people responsible for governing the ground. Think like the ground's official police force. Zanka is currently in training at this time, and among talks of a new recruit, we're given the impression that Zanka is very gifted. His peers look at him stating he isn't like the rest of them. His family is elite, Zanka doesn't buckle under pressure, and he's always at the top of the class. His peers walk away stating they can't do anything about it. They're average Joes and you can't beat a genius no matter how hard you try. Zanka overhearing this smiles maniacally. Damn right they can't. He isn't on the same level. They have no idea how hard he works while they aren't looking. He'll take first place without breaking a sweat. Yet this year was particularly different. Everything was about to change for Zanka. You see, Zanka wants to be first place so he can get a seat on something known as the Golden Throne, a position given every year to the most outstanding trainee. And until this moment, it was all Zanka's, but now he's been beat by Hio, the new girl. She's from the slums, her style is unorthodox, and she's cold. Everybody already has bad impressions of the girl who goes on the top of the class, even Zanka. But he's the only one to take his loss respectfully. Though out of sight he's angry, so angry he bleeds, her walking up to reveal she doesn't care one bit about this golden throne. It's just a chair you sit in so people can say you're amazing. This leaves Zanka wide-eyed, stating that when the real deal comes along, fakes fall apart in the most obvious ways. They copy, they steal, they badmouth. It makes Zanka sick. But what makes him sickest of all is a fake who thinks he's different from the fakes, aka himself. The day he realized that this was him was when it was time to pick their weapons. and Zanka thought he was so special he picked an ordinary stick. Sure, it was to be secretly powerful, but in reality, that thing wasn't even meant to be there. It was a mistake on the coordinators. To top it off, the real genius, the one that beat him, Hyo, picked an ordinary katana. With this, he stuck himself at the bottom of a well for days, realizing he is nothing more than a loser. There's nothing an average Joe like him can do to be a genius. Yet the man speaking to him from up top tells him to be an average Joe better than a genius. He can tell that Zanka wants to keep going despite his words. He still hangs on to that stick. That means something. And with this, everything he's saying is a good thing. Because when you recognize your weaknesses, you can get stronger. The man is revealed to be Engine, him asking Zanka to show him that an average Joe can surpass a genius. With this backstory, it all comes together. Zanka's urge to prove average Joes can surpass a genius is because he was forced to realize he wasn't all that special. He too is an average Joe. Zanka said it himself, he was a fake, trying to be a real deal genius when he wasn't. And in the face of the genuine article, he shattered. Understanding he is an average Joe that could surpass a genius, Zanka had to accept he'd just need to work hard, resulting in his vital instrument's mastery and his respect towards those who work hard. Though upon realizing this all, Zanka had quite an interesting reaction, jumping into a well and self-deprecating. It reads as if he's never had a moment where he's failed. It's likely, being the kid brought up in royalty, Zanka has had an easy path due to his family. And in this moment, I feel like Zanka probably felt like he couldn't turn to them. Not only are expectations high as we've seen from how others view him, but as we'll later see, his family is rather cold and strict. I wouldn't be surprised if Zanka was ashamed and knew he'd be likely disciplined even if he's only number 2. It's quite sad. He burrowed into this well because he was scared of the repercussions and had nobody to turn to. He was embarrassed about how badly he failed. Though, this is why Engine's words hit so hard. He was a random person who had so much care for him, even though he really didn't have to. Then, to make it a bit sadder, Zanka freaks out with any sort of compliment, like he's never had any, meaning he probably wasn't appreciated. It's a surefire symptom of insecurity, meaning he also burrowed into the well because he's insanely insecure. Insecure about his feelings of being inferior. Though with this, the rest of Zanka's story is answered. He became a cleaner due to Engine, to prove that an average Joe can surpass a genius, and you can assume that's why he respects Engine so much. He helped him find his path. Zanka is a hard work beats talent type of character, and I gotta say, him being similar, he reminds me of Rock Lee in the best way possible. I grew up with Naruto, just let me have this one. Though I bring up a comparison to say Zanka really stands out in this archetype, as it isn't just about working hard and proving yourself when it comes to him. There's also layers of insecurity and an inferiority complex. Zanka not only struggles with compliments and affirmation, but he constantly calls himself average even though he's clearly worked hard for his strength. I mean, he has a whole vital instrument, like, dude, be proud of that. But alas, no matter what you say, anyone says, he cannot leave this headspace behind. To him, he is below or completely average. This works in like a fan's favor though, as it makes us really want to root for him. Plus him being goofy and frankly a bit awkward makes him just, well, lovable. You just can't hate Zanka. Zanka climbs from the well as he stands back up against Jabber, calling his staff back to him as he states he'll prove it. He'll show Jabber the powers of an average Joe. Oh, but it was still an illusion. Jabber is sitting right next to him, gleefully enjoying his poison, all before he readies to finish Zanka. But thankfully, Ryo finds him and shoots Jabber, which, WTF, that's a whole nother conversation. Anyways, he's saved, and, not dying with the trash beast. Which is crazy. If she didn't find him here, well, Zanka would have died. Zanka reappears as Rudo intends to bring him flowers. Jabber's poison was so vile, they couldn't get it all out of his system. And while Rudo worries, Engine is sure this is nothing. He states Zanka's climbed out of rock bottom before. He'll do it again. Zanka has fought his weaknesses and crawled back up. If he can fight against himself, it'll take more than Jabber to beat him. It's then Remlin shows up, revealing that when they all got protection spells way back, Remlin actually put a silly one on Zanka, all because he looked the most serious. This means that if Tamzy's ultra attack way earlier included Zanka, well, we wouldn't be having this moment. He would be dead. His arm then grows to an inflated balloon, and while they all expect Zanka to be angry, he's serious, he just laughs. This is exactly what he needed, a good laugh. It's a moment of clarity, as Zanka states he's just not good enough. No sorry is gonna help him, no feel better, because he knows the way to heal is to use it all as encouragement. He looks to Rudo. He better not be ready to pity him. He'll toss him right out. Zanka states that he can't blame Remlin for his shortcomings. He was fighting for real and got beat the worst. He was completely and utterly useless. He just has to get stronger. That'll make the problem go away. Zanka is set on working so hard he can't lose, and he knows that by blaming others and accepting pity, it'll amount to nothing. And this is the one thing I love so much about Zanka. While other characters in manga will lose and that'll be it, they'll be a stepping stone for another's growth, Zanka's losses result in no one's growth but his, the way it should be. Zanka loses and he grows as a result. It's very simple, but a great lesson. No loss is too big to learn from. You get hit back harder by learning. Rudo leaves, the room left to just Engine and Zanka, and after freaking out over Engine's get well gifts, again, it's like nobody has ever been nice to him, they speak of Rudo. Zanka states that if Rudo's goal is to get revenge while having fun, he'll need to figure out what he's forgetting. This inspires him to get up, finding Rudo staring at an upset Remlin, asking him, "Are you gonna look for ammo or what?" They had a moment, they said they were gonna reach out, and so Rudo better get started. Zanka now pointing to Remlin. This to say, Rudo made a promise to Ammo. He needs to look for her while working on that promise. Remlin is right in front of him upset. This is his chance to reach out. If he wants to make it to the spear while keeping everyone alive and having fun, then he surely needs to learn how to do this. Zanka is a great teacher. I just wanted to make this apparent. His own losses don't mean he wants to drag others down. Pretty much the opposite. Look how he treats Rudo. But with this, Zanka moves in the background, the only glimpse of him for a while being Folo's backstory, where we see him shortly after he joined the cleaners. Zanka jumped in, dodged this huge trash beast, and chopped it to bits with little effort, Engine quickly congratulating him, leaving him super happy. Though this is where I want to speak of the Hell Guards, as they are bound to be a huge part of Zanka's tale, their family after all. Zanka's sister, Kyoka Nijiku, is introduced as she meets Corvus, making it apparent that she's very strict and cold. She tries to imprison Rudo for simply coming from the spear, and though she was just seeking info, what everyone is literally doing, she was willing to use ruthless tactics till Corvus shut her down. She then goes on to kill a raider, stating this is why she warned Zanka to not be a giver. Also, this guy in the background, don't forget him, is Zanka's older brother, Goka. There's also several moments that highlight that she hates Engine, implying it's his fault Zanka joined the cleaners. All this to say, their family seems a bit, well, obviously constrained, but cold, strict, and very upset with Zanka. It's overall not the best looking situation. But alas, everything gets rolling again as the doll festival rapidly approaches. We watch Zanka strike down a trash beast instantly, him thinking that this just isn't enough. He's still inferior to Hio, before he's introduced to the doll festival. At first, he tries to say he isn't going, but well, Engine is, so of course he'll show up. Though as this happens, something weird unveils itself. Upon throwing away the flyer, a woman Zanka just barely picks it up, revealing it's Hio, the girl from the academy. Interesting. And I think you can assume that she's not even a Hellguard anymore. Zanka and the cleaners arrive to the festival where he quickly realizes his brother is in town, which is strange. The Hellguards wouldn't be around unless something big is happening. And well, something big happens. Mymo unveils his plot to control the world, and the second his lackeys appear, Zanka's on the scene. Zanka jumps into battle Gil, dodging and deflecting every single one of her baseball-like bullets. All as he reveals this isn't anything new for him. Sure, he was part of a special family, but his genius sister put him through hell. She taught him to dodge gunfire by playing dodge bullet, which is... yeah, what the hell? Gil dashes away as Zanka throws his staff at her blowing it back as he listens to her wanting to hit a dude's balls. What? Yeah, this fight is out of control, especially as Zanka deflects every ball mid-air. Even if they continuously follow him, he cuts them in half. Gil thinks on Zanka. He's casually slicing through high-speed ballistics. That's not what an average Joe does. She mistakes him for a snotty elite kid, but Zanka is ready to prove her wrong. Rio and Felix's battle heats up and ends up right in front of Zanka. Rio asking for backup and Zanka helping her hold the giant ball barrier back, before she's able to slice it in half. Their combined efforts splitting the ground and allowing Zanka to knock Gil out instantly. Zanka is noted to be insanely strong, as she said, casually slicing through high-speed ballistics, and I'd agree, that is not normal, especially for someone whose weapon is a stick. In reality, I think Zanka is a lot stronger than he gives himself credit for, and I think, in reality, his stick is also a lot stronger than he gives it credit for. This stick could be so much grander of a vital instrument, but I think Zanka is unintentionally limiting it. If Zanka views himself as very inferior, his vital instrument, an object basically attached to his soul, is also going to be considered inferior. So that's something to look forward to. Zanka is definitely going to somehow get a stronger instrument in the future. So, I'm excited. After this, Mymo quickly goes down, Zanka's brother Goku leading the Hellguards to back up the cleaners. Though to everyone's horror, Mymo transforms. He transforms into a beast beyond human horrors. And while this isn't a video about him, I will see him and what happens next in my nightmares. Mymo approaches Goku, staring at him as he turns away, heading to face Zanka. The Hellguard dashes towards his sibling as Mymo impales Zanka with the flick of a finger. The horror can only remind Goku of a scene with his sister. She told him to stop comparing himself with Zanka. It's good if he sees Zanka's qualities as bright, but he needs to stay focused on what's in front of him. The two of them aren't the same, but they are each given equally good qualities. This is clearly before Zanka had left, and this implies Goku was at one point jealous of his younger brother. He's the middle child, and so he probably feels like he can't stand out between the two of them. Considering his sister is the leader of the Hellguards and his younger brother at this point is an academy genius, well, he's probably in an awkward spot. She urges him to embrace his own qualities and defend Zanka's. Even if he leaves them one day, never look away from him. Presently, Zanka falls backwards, blood exploding from the hole in his chest, before he strikes back with all his might. Kyoka from the past stating Zanka's special quality is his inexhaustible flame. It consumes his inept past, and as he struggles to break from that past, it leads him to evolve. Zanka yells that they can beat Mymo as he falls, Goku approaching him as he appears to almost cry, saying, "It's always him that is beat. Why is it always him?" He calls Zanka pathetic. This is what's become of the man who refused to live up to their expectations. He picks Zanka up. He's only doing this because Kyoka asked him to. He will report to her about his incompetence. Goku assures Rudo that Zanka would never die from something like this as he leaves. So yeah, that's the end of Zanka for now. Another loss. But again, I must remind you, Zanka's character isn't a punching bag. Zanka is a character crowned by his inferiority complex. Becoming someone strong because he considers himself lesser is what he's all about. He has accepted that he isn't a genius like his royal family would insinuate. Rather, he's an average Joe that feels he needs to prove himself, doing so through hard work, almost to an unhealthy degree. All in all, this is a very basic concept, hardworking character out to prove himself. But I think Zanka is put together very well. By now, most characters would have won, so to say already, their hard work paying off. But Zanka constantly loses, and we have yet to have a moment where it all pays off. Though with every loss, it's like Zanka learned something, making every single loss he takes, even if it's terrible, feel very rewarding by the end of it. It's a very well thought out formula. It makes you want to root for him. But not only this, it's generally a very good lesson. You aren't going to take one loss and magically be where you need to be. Growing is a process of many defeats before you reach your goal. And Zanka is proof of this in a character, and as I said before, I think it's very well done, even if right now it feels like a lot of losses. His most recent scene highlights another one of those devastating losses, as well as setting up the idea that Zanka's family situation isn't as simple as strictness and brutal expectations. Here we learn that feelings of jealousy and inhumane brutal training was involved. And while I want to hope she loves Zanka like a brother, Kyoko referring to them as traits makes them seem like objects to her, illustrating that every member of the family seems to have their own unique issues. Of course though, we can't forget about Hio. What's up with her? I assume she's no longer a Hellguard. How is that going to wrap back into Zanka? And of course, him. I think this very well could end up being a breaking point. For the first time, he's questioned why it's him that always loses. His face swelled up, about to cry, with the hole in his chest. Not to mention, he has been saved and taken by the family he left. This has gotta hurt and be beyond, well, terrible to him. It's like his hard work he's been putting in is for nothing. Not only on a level of personal growth, battling against that inferiority complex, but when it comes to his issues against his family, he's back right where he started. I do think it would be astonishing if after a series of losses, this one being the most dire so far, him hitting an all-new rock bottom, he crawled back finally for a victory. I think this might be that time. I think this is the breaking point Zanka needs for his first big win.